Chapter 1197. Gu Jingyu. The person walking past them was none other than Gu Jingyu, who had been studying abroad for 2 years. He was dressed in a gray trench coat, which fluttered in the wind as he walked. The crowd couldn't tell who he was at first. Because Gu Jingyu hadn't appeared in public for a long time, many people had forgotten that he was still in the entertainment industry. Yeah, Han Yixing, Lin De Guokichin, these male idols, could they still be considered idols in front of Gu Jingyu? They were just young actors. They couldn't compare to an A-list superstar like Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu's face was as cold as ever. Looking inside, Lin Che raised his head and looked at him in astonishment. He smiled faintly. The corners of his lips curled up in a flirtatious way, which made the reporters around him gasp in surprise. Although there were countless handsome men in the entertainment industry, there weren't many that could make people excited at any time. Not only were there not many, it could even be said to be very few. Everyone's spirits were lifted. After a long time they realized that Gu Jingyu was back. In an instant the reporters surrounded him in a frenzy. Gu Jingyu, you're finally here. Gu Jingyu, are you returning to the entertainment industry? Where have you been these 2 years? Do you have anything to say to your fans? Do you have any plans now? The security guards almost couldn't control the situation. It was the Gu family's own security guards who hurried over to stop the reporters who were like wolves and tigers. They couldn't blame the reporters for being so difficult to deal with. It had been a long time since they had seen such explosive news. Gu Jingyu didn't care about them. He looked at Lin Che first and walked over. Lin Che looked at him in surprise and held his arm. He really wanted to see if this person was real. It was real indeed. It was still warm. Gu Jingyu, Lin Che wanted to ask why he was here. But Gu Jingyu curled his lips and looked at her calmly. What? I'm coming back to act now, but I don't have any shows to film. Aren't you going to take me in? Lin Che was shocked. You really want to film it? Gu Jingyu raised an eyebrow. Do you want to? Of course. Originally his image was very suitable. He was tough and gentle at the same time, his eyes were sharp and his looks were very recognizable. Moreover, his popularity was definitely top-notch and his acting skills were needless to say. Moreover, the two of them had worked together many times and their tacit understanding was there. Lin Che hurriedly nodded. You said it, you're not allowed to go back on your word. He hadn't even read the script yet, so he didn't want to do it. Gu Jingyu said, of course. You're a man. If you want to do it, you'll do it. If you want to go back on your words, you can try it on later. When Lin Che saw this, he was very happy and immediately flattered. Hehe, do you even need to try? You'll definitely be able to do any of them. Gu Jingyu said, hey, it's really different now. In the past, when I asked you to flatter me, you would directly flatter me and make me even angrier. You've improved now. Yes, ba. Now you can slap a horse's neck. Hehe. Lin Che looked at the reporters below, and his expression changed very quickly. Just now he had a guilty look on his face, but now he just smiled and said, really, everyone? I just wanted to give everyone a surprise today, but I didn't expect you to be so anxious. Alright, now that everyone is here, we can start. The press conference was originally for the main cast to meet everyone. The reporters were now completely attracted by Gu Jingyu, and all their questions were on him. However, Gu Jingyu smiled and said directly, sorry, I'm back and I'm ready to meet everyone with my work. There's nothing else to say. Then he arrogantly refused to be interviewed. Lin Che could only laugh dryly and then said, yes, we hope that everyone's attention can be focused on our work. As for other things, we'll release the promotional photos later, and we'll also send out a press release to everyone. Don't worry, everyone. Alright, since there was a press release, they didn't rush to ask anything else. Anyway, Gu Jingyu really didn't like to be interviewed. It was like this in the past. On this day, from the moment Gu Jingyu appeared, all the media and entertainment news were directly flooded by him. Gu Jingyu's attractiveness had once again been witnessed by the crowd. Back then he left without a word and now he came back like a whirlwind. Gu Jingyu was really stubborn to the extreme. But it was also because of this stubbornness that left a deep impression on people. The media said that Gu Jingyu had returned and joined Lin Che's new drama, Light. The two of them worked together again at the press conference, and in the future, Light would really shine brightly. Those who had initially wanted to see which artist Lin Che could choose to act in the role were now filled with regret. They had thought that she really couldn't find anyone to act in the role and would end up begging them. Now things were looking good. How did she manage to invite Gu Jingyu, who was in a semi-retired state? This was too explosive. Han Yixing's company instantly softened. At first, they wanted to say that no matter who played the male lead, they would use their domineering Han Yixing to hype up the drama. When the drama became popular, they would also become popular, which would make Lin Che proud. But now, who would dare to compare themselves with Gu Jingyu? Whoever compared themselves with Gu Jingyu would be slapped in the face. The internet was also filled with jubilation. They were all saying, with Gu Jingyu in the drama, it will definitely be very good. I've read the original novel. The male lead is so domineering, only Gu Jingyu can handle it. Han Yixing is too feminine compared to him. Gu Jingyu is still better. Yeah, Han Yixing isn't as good looking as Gu Jingyu. Han Yixing's acting can't compare to Gu Jingyu's at all. In the game he is very handsome, holding an immortal artifact as immortal as he wants, and his gaze must be sharp. Can Han Yixing do it? Han Yixing really wanted to cry until he fainted in the toilet. In the back, Lin Che looked at Gu Jingyu. Where did you go? You scared me to death when you suddenly came back. Gu Jingyu said, I went out for a trip. It's so annoying to work every day. Then you suddenly came back. You didn't tell me in advance. Did you really think about acting? Gu Jingyu looked calm. Yeah, I heard from my second brother that you wanted to make a game, so I went to play it. I thought it was pretty good, so I wanted to act in it. Ah, you even played our game, hee hee. Lin Che smiled and said, is it really fun? Yeah, it's really not bad. Where did you come up with the idea to make the game? Gu Jingyu tapped Lin Che's forehead. Lin Che said, isn't it to make money? Alright, I'll give you the contract later. This is the script. You can take a look. Chapter 1198. Gu Jingyu said, okay, but I don't have a place to stay at the moment. I might have to stay at your place first. Lin Che said, why don't you have a place to stay? Gu Jingyu said, I went out to have fun and my family deducted all my credit cards. Don't you know? Alright, how willful. Yu Minmin came in from behind and was a little surprised to see Gu Jingyu. What happened just now was real. Gu Jingyu had really come. Lin Che said to Yu Minmin, go and look at the contract. We'll discuss how to shoot the show. Yu Minmin nodded and quickly went to prepare. After she went out, she pulled Lin Che over and said, is he really going to shoot the show? Of course, Lin Che said. He promised and he won't go back on his word. Yu Minmin said, Aya, we're going to be rich this time. Lin Che said, he hasn't even looked at the script. So I can't get used to it so suddenly. Aha, you can't get used to it. Just wait until we go back and count the money. I'm going to contact the TV station. Whoever wants to buy our show must pay double the price. Gu Jingyu was a living signboard. Did they still need advertisements? Yu Minmin was elated and quickly went to prepare for the publicity. Gu Jingyu's sudden addition indicated that their publicity model had to be changed immediately. The original model was a bit of a loser. Now that Gu Jingyu was here, they had to make this drama more and more high-end so that it would be worthy of Gu Jingyu's identity. Lin Che brought Gu Jingyu home. At home, Gu Jingyu saw the people outside as soon as he came in. Hey, are these your people? He asked Dongzi and the others. Lin Che said, ah yes. Other than the people in the past, her people were still growing. At first she didn't have many bodyguards. Later Gu Jingzi helped her add a few more. Gu Jingyu said, second brother actually prepared bodyguards for you. Not bad, not bad. These people are very capable. There aren't many people in the Gu family who have bodyguards. How could you tell that they're my people and not Gu Jingzi's? Lin Che said. Gu Jingyu said, do you think I don't know how second brother uses people? He doesn't change people often. I saw these new faces so I asked. As expected, second brother really dotes on you. Why did you come back? Gu Jingzi came out and asked Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu smiled. I don't have a place to stay now that I'm back, so I'll stay with you for a few days. Lin Che said, yeah, how did he get his things confiscated? He just came today. You didn't see it? He ran to our press conference and said that he wanted to act in our TV series. The reporters went crazy, okay? Gu Jingyu said, those reporters are making a big deal out of nothing. Gu Jingzi said, it's because he was disobedient and ran around. He snorted and walked down. You want to stay here? Gu Jingyu said, otherwise, how would I have the money to live elsewhere? Oh, did you sign a contract with Lin Che? Not yet. How much are you going to be paid? Well, I'll give you whatever you want. We're on the same side, so there's no need to be so superficial. Just give me my usual rate. His usual rate, she didn't know. Gu Jingzi said, then you can leave. What? Lin Che and Gu Jingyu looked at Gu Jingzi together. Gu Jingzi said, otherwise I'll use your pay as rent and I'll get someone to clean up the same room as you. Hey, you're too black-hearted. Your room is gilded. It's so expensive, Gu Jingyu protested. Gu Jingzi said, otherwise I can tell my family that you're staying here. Obviously, Gu Jingyu didn't want others to know. Hence, he rolled his eyes and said unhappily, okay, I'll use the pay as rent. Then can you give me a bigger room? Yeah, you can choose any room upstairs. Gu Jingzi smiled. Gu Jingyu snorted. How black-hearted, Lin Che was stunned. She looked at Gu Jingzi. Wow, is that okay? His pay should be very expensive. Gu Jingzi patted her back and looked at her. This is how business is. You have to judge the situation. Every penny has to be used. If you can save it, save it. But he didn't have to save it like that. Gu Jingzi was really black-hearted. But Lin Che liked it. Gu Jingyu stayed there for the night. You want to see the two kids? Gu Xinian was doing his homework while Shi Yuan was sitting on the floor playing. He was leaning against the cushion, holding something and looking very happy. Gu Jingyu said, Aya, the kids are already so big. It's a pity that they look like second brother. Sai, I hope they're not as black-hearted as second brother. Lin Che said, it's because you offended the family that he had something to use against you. Oh yeah, why did you fall out with your family? It's because they wanted me to marry a woman. I didn't want to, so I ran away. No way. Is that woman that bad? It's not that bad. I just don't want to get married yet. Okay, then when are you going to get married? Sai, it's hard to find a good woman. I don't want to get married for now. Not every man is as lucky as second brother to meet someone he likes so quickly. He glanced at Lin Che with a smile. Lin Che snorted. That's a good flatterer. At first, he was the only one in the family who hadn't settled down yet. It was indeed a little worrying. In the morning, Lin Che and Gu Jingyu went to the set together. Yu Minmin was still working on the contract with Lin Che. She was discussing with Lin Che how much they should pay Gu Jingyu or give him a bonus. Lin Che said, no need. Why, he said he doesn't want it. No, he went to stay at my house. Gu Jingzi said that he can use his pay to pay the rent. Damn, your house rent is so expensive. But I don't know how much he gets paid. I asked them yesterday, and they said that he has been making movies for the past few years. His salary for each movie is 20 million, plus his share of the box office earnings, the total sum. His most recent movie earned a total of 240 million. Damn. Is it 100 million yuan? That's right. Then, there should be quite a lot of TV shows. Lin Che's mouth twitched. He felt that their house rent was too expensive. Yu Minmin said, not bad, not bad. Your almighty is really black-hearted. Lin Che said, I don't know either. Maybe I should just symbolically give him some pay. But I can't afford to give him too much. The two of them discussed for a long time and decided to give him some pay as a token. In the back. When Mu Firen heard that Gu Jingyu was back, she specially came to visit him. She and Gu Jingyu were old friends who had worked together several times. However, they hadn't seen each other for a few years. Chapter 1199. Gu Jingyu, you still came back? I thought you ran away and never came back, Mu Firen said with a smile. Gu Jingyu looked at Mu Firen. What? You can come back but I can't? I came back to make a living. As for you, you have money and fame. If you don't want to act, you don't have to. Forget it. I'm poor now. I have to stay in someone else's house to barely fill my stomach. The two of them teased each other and the others couldn't get a word in. They smiled and looked at the two former heavenly kings and empresses standing together again today. They had once led an era. But now, the little actor Lin Che, who they looked up to in the past, had also begun to lead another era. While everyone was sighing, Mu Firen and the others had already greeted each other. Mu Firen said to Lin Che, with Gu Jingyu in the cast, your TV series will definitely be very popular. Lin Che said, we still have to look at other things. Don't get scolded for letting Gu Jingyu down and saying that we wasted their Gu Jingyu. Lin Che also had some concerns. At this moment, Mu Firen called. She quickly answered the phone. It's from my family. Your family has been contacting you frequently recently, Lin Che said. Mu Firen didn't want to say anything more. She smiled faintly and left. In Mu Firen's house, Mother Mu and her brother arrived together. Looking at the yard from the outside, it seemed that there was no one inside. They jumped over the fence at the door. Sister, I don't think you're here. Did you see any wild men inside? I didn't see them. Are there any men's clothes? Hey look, Mom, isn't that a man's clothes over there? A black jacket? It must be. It seems that sister really has a man. All right, that little wench. I told her to be careful. She must have been tricked. While they were talking, they saw someone coming in from outside. He did look like a hooligan. His skin was fair and tender and he wasn't old either. The person who came in was actually a subordinate of Black Hawk. He came over with ease, went in to pick up his clothes, opened the door and left. He didn't even notice if there was anyone there. Mother Moo exclaimed, "Oh, is that the one just now? This Fearon, is ridiculous." Then Mother Moo hurriedly called Moo Fearon. He also asked Moo Fearon to come home when she was free. When Moo Fearon returned home, she saw that her mother and younger brother were both there. However, there was also a young man beside them. The man's eyes lit up when he saw Moo Fearon. Mother Moo said, "Fearon, you're here. Just in time. We have guests at home. We'll have dinner at home later. I'll ask someone to prepare some food." The family also hired a nanny to help with the cooking and cleaning. Usually, Mother Moo liked to go out to play mahjong and did not like to do housework. Moo Fearon froze and thought of the Mercedes-Benz Metaxas she had just seen outside. So it was his car. "Hey Mom, tell me clearly, what are you going to do now?" Mother Moo said, "Now? Didn't I say that we have guests at home? You have to accompany them." The man looked at Moo Fearon and thought that she was much prettier in real life than on TV. Although she was already very beautiful on TV, she was not even 1/10 as beautiful as she was in real life. Indeed, she looked more like a fairy in real life. "Mom, why should I accompany them? I don't even know them." Moo Fearon tugged at her mother. Mother Moo said, "Oh, this is Mr. Chen how?" Mother Moo pulled Moo Fearon over and said in a low voice, "His family runs a company and is very rich. He is known as one of the 4 princes of Beijing. In B City everyone knows about him." "What 4 princes of Beijing?" Moo Fearon said, "I'm not talking about who he is." Okay. You guys talk first. I'll go prepare the food." Mother Moo didn't waste time talking to her. She sent her away and went into the kitchen. Chin Hao looked at Moo Fearon. "Oh, Miss Fearon, you're prettier than on TV." Moo Fearon looked at him and laughed dryly. "Sorry, I'm a little busy. I'll go first." "Oh, Miss Fearon, I'm a fan of your movies." Moo Fearon really didn't like such an opening. "Oh really? Thank you for your support." "Oh, Miss Fearon, since you're here, why don't you sit down and talk?" "But I'm really busy." "Don't be like this, Miss Fearon. I think you know what your mom means. But old people are always like this, so let's give them some face. I was dragged here by my dad, but I don't think it's good to go back like this. They might be angry. Why don't we sit down and talk? Anyway, it's just a meal and nothing will happen. If you're not interested, you can just stop contacting them later." Moo Fearon listened to his words. Since he was so polite, she didn't want to slap his smiling face, so she sat down. He stared at Moo Fearon and thought to himself, "I didn't expect that the beauty I used to watch on TV would appear in front of me now." It was said that these stars and actresses were no different from those prostitutes. They all wanted to turn over a new leaf after becoming famous, so they found a rich man to marry and live a good life. Of course, he didn't want such a wife, but he still wanted to get to know her after hearing that it was her. Anyway, he wasn't really going to get married. "I heard that you have a child." "Well, yes." Moo Fearon leaned against the wall and didn't bother to answer him. He said, "Actually, I like children. I can bring them with me next time." "You don't have to. By the way, my family's restaurant is about to open soon. You can come and have a look. It's here." He took out a business card and handed it to her with both hands. Moo Fearon took it and saw that it was a restaurant that served seafood. "Really? I'll go and have a look when I have time. You can come during the opening ceremony. We've invited a lot of business celebrities." "No, Moo Fearon stood up and was about to leave. Moo Fearon hurried out to stop her. "Fearon, don't be like this. You, all right Mom, I've said it before. I have a boyfriend. Can you stop being like this?" Chin Hao stood up immediately. "You have a boyfriend?" Moo Fearon's face turned red and black and she said embarrassedly, "No, she was cheated. I just want to pull her back. It's true that she has a boyfriend, but he's a liar who wants to cheat her of her money." "What liar? Have you seen him before? Just call him a liar." "Of course I've seen him before." Chapter 1200. Moo Fearon looked at her mother strangely. "When did you see him?" "Oh, I've seen him anyway." "You've been to my house to look for him?" Moo Fearon was even more annoyed at the thought that she might have gone to He Ying's place. Mother Moo rolled her eyes. She knew that she couldn't hide it any longer, so she snorted and said, "Look at what kind of taste you have. Why did you find such a person? I told you that you were deceived, but you didn't believe me. You and him are not suitable at all. You have a different status. Moreover, how can he be worthy of you? He doesn't even know what kind of person he is. How dare he touch you?" Mu Firen was puzzled. Was she talking about Haiying? Why did she feel that Haiying wasn't that annoying? But that might not be the case. She thought that Haiying was very arrogant. Maybe he had said something that made her mother unhappy. Mu Firen said, "Since you've seen him, what else is there to say? It saves me the trouble of introducing him." "Ah, let him come. Let him come. Let him see if he has the nerve to come here," Mother Mu said. Mu Firen said, "What can you do if he comes?" Mu Firen said, "What can you do if he comes? If he doesn't even have the guts to come here to see me, how can he say he's your boyfriend? Even if you said you weren't cheated, bring it out to prove it. Let me tell you, if he comes here for less than a minute, I can expose him and make him feel ashamed." If he dared to come, she would scold him to death. She wanted him to cheat on her daughter by letting him be a gigolo and doing nothing. Mu Firen looked at her mother. She knew that she couldn't hide the fact that she had a boyfriend from her family. They would meet sooner or later. Since she had already seen him, it wouldn't hurt to ask for Mo Jinyan's opinion and come to see him. Mu Firen said, "Okay, I can ask for his opinion. If he's willing to come." "Ha, if you ask for his opinion, he definitely won't come." Mother Mu interrupted her. Mu Firen didn't want to say more. She picked up the phone and walked out. She dialed Mo Jinyan's number. Soon Mo Jinyan picked up. "Firen, what's wrong?" Mu Firen said, "Jinyan, my family knows that I have a boyfriend." "Oh, if you know, then you know. What, you still want to hide it from me?" "Of course not, but now they want to see you. I'm wondering if you want to see them." Mo Jinyan said, "Aya, we're meeting our son-in-law so soon. Really, I haven't prepared any gifts yet." He really agreed without hesitation. "No, my family. Jinyan, to tell you the truth, they don't really agree, so I'm worried that they will make things difficult for you when you come." This kind of matter naturally had to be discussed in advance. When Mo Jinyan heard this, he chuckled. "Disagree?" He said, "So that's how it is. Okay, it's okay if you don't agree. After all, you're the baby of your family. It's only right that you pay more attention to him and have higher expectations of your boyfriend. Okay, I'll go over now. Wait for me." Hearing this, Mu Firen panicked a little. He said, "Hang up. Wait for me." Mu Firen nodded and hung up the phone. There was something about Mo Jinyan that was unimaginably gentlemanly. He would always wait for others to hang up before hanging up. It was like this every time, which made people feel that he was very considerate. When Mu Firen hung up the phone, she heard her mother saying to Chen Hao, "We've seen him before. He's just a pretty boy. Really, he doesn't even know that he's been cheated. But you'll see when he comes. If he dares to say that he's Firen's boyfriend when he's standing next to you, then he's really shameless." Mu Firen was puzzled. Why did she feel that Black Eagle was also a pretty boy? He didn't look like a pretty boy either. Although he was very fair, he wasn't small either. After waiting for about half an hour, Mo Jinyan arrived. The car stopped outside and someone walked in with a gift in his arms. At first glance, it was a box of wine. On a closer look, it seemed to be the kind of famous wine that cost a few thousand a bottle. Martel. The people who came in were the young men who often followed Black Eagle. The one in front was a very common one. When he saw Mu Firen, he greeted, "Hello, sister-in-law." Then he walked straight in. The people behind him were carrying wine. This time it was a different kind of red wine, but it also looked very expensive. These people. Inside, Mother Mu saw the boy walking in. She took a closer look. Wasn't he the one she had seen at Mu Firen's house? "Hey, it's him," she called out. Unexpectedly, she saw that he was carrying a box of Martel wine. That wine seemed to cost a few thousand a bottle. And he had brought so much with him. She was a little surprised at first, but then she thought that even if it was expensive, it must have been a lot of money. She rolled up her sleeves and was about to curse. However, he didn't expect that a few people would follow behind him. Each of them was carrying a box of wine. They looked like different brands, but all of them were of the same quality as Martel wine. "Oh my, this is..." Mother Mu was a little confused. At the end of the line, a man in a leather coat stepped in. As he stood there, it was as if all the people around him were overshadowed in an instant. He saw Mu Firen first. With a big smile, he walked over like a gust of wind. "Firen, I'm here." Mu Firen pointed inside in surprise. "Those things? Oh, you must give gifts when you visit for the first time. I asked them, and they said that most first-time visitors would give wine and cigarettes. They said to give wine, but they didn't say to move the liquor store here." Mu Firen thought that the next time these people gave him ideas, they'd better talk about the quantity first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to control the quantity. Moving so many boxes back and forth in such a short time, her house's hall was full of boxes. At this moment, Mother Moo walked out in surprise. She stared at the man who was emitting light like the sun. He stood there domineeringly, looking indomitable and indomitable. For a moment, people didn't dare to blink their eyes. Who is this? Firen, this is... Moo Firen said, this is the boyfriend I was talking about. Oh, it's not the one I saw before. Mother Moo pointed at the boy. Then oh, he's his subordinate. Mother Moo cursed inwardly. She even mistook him for someone else. At this moment, the man in front of her was dignified and had a different aura, but she didn't know what he did. However, at this moment, Chin Hao also walked out in surprise. Chapter 1201. Auntie, this person? He looked at Haiying and Haiying looked back at him. Mo Jinyan frowned and asked, this is your brother? He looked a little more mature. Moo Firen pursed her lips and looked at the man, not knowing what to say. Mother Moo looked at him and said hurriedly, this is Mr. Chen, he's... Moo Firen harumphed and said, he's the blind date my mother prepared for me. There was nothing to hide, so she just said it out loud. Otherwise, her mother would make random arrangements for her in the future. Mo Jinyan paused. Then he looked at the man in front of him and said, oh, I'm here now. You can scram now. What did he mean by scram now? Chin Hao's face turned red with anger. Hey, say that again. Mo Jinyan harumphed and said, you're not worth me repeating myself. Scram. So arrogant. How could Chin Hao really scram? That would be so embarrassing. Ha, you talk big. I don't know how to scram. Let's see how you make me scram. Don't think that I'm afraid of you just because you're taller. When I was out, you were still wearing diapers, Chin Hao shouted. However, Mo Jinyan's expression didn't change at all. He just lowered his eyes and glanced at the braggart. You want to know how I'll make you scram? Mo Jinyan waved his hand and said, men, let him see how we'll make him scram out of this yard. The person outside immediately received the order and walked in with a smile. Nowadays, very few people dared to provoke Haiying. They hadn't had such fun in a long time. Now that there was finally someone who wasn't afraid of death and dared to provoke Haiying, they rushed over to have some fun. Chin Hao looked at the men walking over with smiles on their faces and instinctively wanted to retreat. You, what are you doing, you? He stretched out his hand and pointed at them threateningly, but his threat was too weak. A few of them lifted him up and dragged him out. Ah, scram, I told you to scram. Mo Jinyan said from behind. Ah, I almost forgot. The men hurriedly put him down. Behind them, Mother Moo was anxious. She hurriedly shouted, no, no, my daughter, you can't offend him. Don't be impulsive, you. There was no way Mo Jinyan would listen to her. He just stood there and watched as his men kicked the man one round after another. It was really one round after another until he rolled out of the room. Oh, just you wait, you. After being humiliated, Chin Hao ran away angrily. Mother Moo wanted to cry at the back. You have offended someone, you? She looked at Moo Firen. He's one of the 4 princes in the capital. Do you know how powerful he is? How dare you treat him like this? If he takes revenge on our family in the future, what do you think we'll do? Before Moo Firen could speak, Mo Jinyan snorted. Ha, how arrogant. How dare someone call himself the 4th young master under my nose? What young master? Which young master is he? How could the so-called 4th young master be a real young master? A real young master wouldn't say that to the public. Moo Firen said, it's good to offend him lest you cause trouble for me in the future. Alright, Mom, since the things are here and you've seen him, we'll leave first. Hey, you can't just leave after causing trouble. What should I do if he comes back to take revenge on me? Mother Moo hurriedly cried. Moo Firen said, I caused trouble? It was you who called him back after knowing that I have a boyfriend. Then, you can solve the trouble you caused yourself. That won't do. I'm doing this for your sake. You. Mother Moo was about to scold her when she saw Mo Jinyan's cold gaze. She immediately shut her mouth. That gaze seemed to be filled with murderous intent. No one dared to move or say anything. Mo Jinyan snorted. Alright, Firen, don't scare Auntie. He threw something to Mother Moo. Take this, Auntie. If he comes looking for me, tell him to find me here. Tell him that it's related to Firen and he'll be able to find me. Mother Moo looked down and saw that it was a golden card with the words, resplendent in gold and jade written on it. What was that place? It sounded like a nightclub. Mo Jinyan only said that and didn't say anything else. He held Moo Firen's arm and walked out. Mother Moo waited until the two of them left before she slapped the sofa and cried, this is really terrible. What's the use of leaving such a thing behind? What if someone comes looking for me? I can offend anyone, especially in such a way. They definitely won't forgive me. It's useless even if I kneel and beg for mercy. Mu Firen walked out with Imogen. She looked up and said, "I'm sorry. I asked you to come and see my house in such a mess." Imogen said, "So what? It has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault." Mu Firen sighed and said, "I've spoiled them too much. I debuted very early and became famous in my teens. It's not easy to make a name for yourself in the entertainment industry, but to outsiders, it seems like I've earned a lot of money. My family thinks the same too. They think that it's easy for me to earn money." Mo Jinyan wrapped his arm around her and said, "You've worked hard, but it won't happen again. In the future, if we want to act, we'll do it. If we don't want to, you don't have to worry about what others think. You don't have to work so hard. If you don't want to do it anymore, we can go back and I'll support you." Mu Firen burst into laughter. However, such simple words made people feel so happy and beautiful. She nodded and said, "Okay, you can support me. In the past, Mo Ding always said, 'Earn more money so we can live a good life.' But he never said, 'I'll support you.' It was just 3 simple words, but it contained a kind of reassuring sweetness." Mu Firen shook her head and said, "But I still give them money. In the beginning it was because they didn't agree with me in this industry. Now that I've succeeded, giving them money makes me feel a sense of achievement. Then it slowly became a habit. If I don't give them money to spend, they will criticize me and scold me. Outsiders will also say that the daughter of this family is really not filial. She has money but doesn't give it to her family." Gradually it became a habit. That was human nature. When you get used to something, it becomes natural. When you get used to being tolerant of someone, your temper will be seen as unforgivable. When you get used to being humble and accommodating to someone, even if you have a little bit of your own will, it will be seen as selfish. And when you give too much to someone, the moment you take back a little bit, people will think that you're so evil. But no one would have thought that her giving was out of kindness, not out of responsibility and not out of necessity. She was just used to giving money to her family. Later, when she didn't want to, they started scolding her. Later, when she really didn't want to, they even wanted to cause trouble in the entertainment industry. Chapter 1202. Mu Firen didn't have a choice. She didn't want her family's affairs to be known by everyone and be criticized, but she hated it. That night, Chen Hao hurriedly came to apologize to Black Hawk with a gift. At the door, he said eagerly, "Yesterday Mr. Amo said that it's related to Miss Mu. That's all." Mother Mu was worried that Black Hawk would take revenge on her, so she hurriedly called him to apologize. However, when he received the gold card, he felt that something was wrong. He asked someone to investigate and sure enough, that person was Black Hawk. He called himself the 4 Princes of Beijing in front of Black Hawk. He really wanted to die. These were just nicknames that outsiders happily gave them. The 4 of them were rich second-generation heirs who were good at fooling around. However, they were just ordinary second-generation heirs and were still lacking compared to the real rich. Black Hawk looked at Chen Hao from inside. Chen Hao put down the gift and looked at Black Hawk, who was sitting on the sofa with his legs crossed. "Mr. Amo, I was blind and didn't recognize you. However, I was just following my father's orders to go on a blind date. I didn't want to do anything to Miss Mu. If I had known that Miss Mu was your woman, I definitely wouldn't have embarrassed myself in front of her." Black Hawk said, "Is this a small gift?" Chen Hao looked at it and said anxiously, We came in a hurry and didn't prepare anything. Tell me, what do you like? I'll find it for you even if I have to go to heaven or hell." "Forget it then. But I sent a lot of wine to the Mu family today, so I owe the wine merchant some. You should go and pay him back." Chen Hao hurriedly agreed, "Yes, yes, yes." When he asked around, he heard that Black Hawk suddenly said that he was going to visit his mother-in-law and that he wanted to send some wine. The wine merchant thought that it would be enough, but in the end the wine shop was empty. The wine merchant said, "You can't do this. Some of my wine was ordered by someone else. If you empty it, I won't be able to work anymore." But Black Hawk didn't rob them and still paid them. However, he was speechless. After Chen Hao left, Mother Mu hurriedly sent someone to find out what had happened to Chen Hao. Was he still angry? Did he cause any trouble? Did he do anything to Mu Firen? It was all that hooligan's fault, but it had nothing to do with Firen. However, they heard that Chen Hao had come out and did not do anything to Mu Firen. He just went home obediently. Mother Mu felt strange. What did this mean? That man was fine? Then why didn't he take revenge on Chen Hao after offending him? The 2 of them reconciled just like that? Mother Mu was worried for a few days, and only calmed down when she was sure that nothing had happened. After Gu Jingyu read the script, he quickly got the hang of it. Gu Jingyu was, after all, Gu Jingyu. Even if he ran away for 2 years, when he came back with the script, he still looked like the best actor. The filming of the TV series began. Along with the release of the game, the data of the open beta was also released. The results of the open beta were very good. Not long after, it became popular on the internet. Everyone was discussing how to join the online world. Whether it was a mobile phone or a computer, they could download the game and play it as they went. The mobile game and the client-side game were the same in the background. However, the mobile game was simpler. The client-side game had its own map and missions. However, no matter where you played, the experience points and combat points were the same. Players who played online games didn't have to start all over again after playing the client-side game for a few days. This innovation gave everyone the feeling that they could play at any time, anywhere. Lin Che also started to play since she wasn't so busy. After logging on, she naturally didn't start from the beginning. Instead, she used the closed beta account that she had left behind. Because she was the boss, she opened a back door and kept it for herself. Anyway, if she did it alone, it wouldn't cause any imbalance in the game. After logging on, someone immediately noticed Lin Che. When they matched up with her, they said, "This is a closed beta account, right?" Lin Che chuckled and said, "How did you know? I'm an old player, okay? I didn't get a gun during the closed beta, but I know that there's something special about the closed beta accounts. The order of the numbers isn't messed up. Look at your game ID and you'll know." She looked at her ID. It was 24,680. Okay, she really hadn't noticed. "But where did you get this account?" "Too lousy." Lin Che felt bad. "Guru, can you give me some face? It's a closed beta account after all." "Tell me how you got the closed beta account first." "I don't know either." Lin Che decided to play dumb. "The closed beta accounts have been taken back. Why didn't you take yours back?" "Maybe they forgot to take it back." "That's impossible." He chased after them. Fortunately, the opposing team attacked at that moment. He quickly went up to help. After a series of PKs, a few people died on both sides. Only then did this wave of team battle end. After winning, Lin Che slipped away and left the team. But as soon as he went down, he saw that the people who were playing just now had added him as a friend. "Guru, please carry me." "Guru, do you think you have connections?" "Guru, are you rich in the company?" "Guru, do you have connections in the company? Can you give me some equipment?" Lin Che quickly went offline. He felt that his ID was too eye-catching. But he had never had a problem playing it before. It was all because of that person who knew about the industry had found out and reminded others to come and watch him. Lin Che sighed. I can't be too eye-catching. Next time I'll ask if I can hide my ID." Gu Jingze was also behind him. He asked, "What's wrong?" Lin Che told him what had happened. Gu Jingze said, "Then why didn't you hand in your closed beta account?" Lin Che said, I had nothing to do, so I went up to show off." "Then why are you complaining to me?" "Hey, I'm pretending. Can't you tell? When I'm complaining, I'm waiting for you to be envious. Didn't I tell you to expose me?" Although it was very eye-catching, Lin Che was secretly happy. It was different from being liked by fans in the entertainment industry. Being treated as a guru in the game was a great feeling. Gu Jingze shook his head and looked at this silly woman. "I hope that I won't be like you in the future." "What?" Lin Che went up to him and questioned him. She flipped open the folder in front of him and turned his chair around. Then she stepped onto his lap and hugged his neck. She looked at him and said, "Say that again." However, at that moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. Gu Jingyu walked in casually. "Lin Che, where's your script? I forgot to bring it. Let me have a look." Chapter 1203. As soon as he entered, he saw Lin Che hanging on Gu Jingze like a sloth. "Fuck," Gu Jingyu exclaimed. She rubbed her eyes and turned around. "Oh my eyes must be hurting. You even have a corn." Lin Che blushed and jumped down. Why did he come in without knocking? "Hey, is the closed door for decoration? Why didn't you knock?" Lin Che shouted. Gu Jingyu said, "Sis, this is the study." "How would I know what you're doing in the study?" Lin Che blushed again. "What do you mean?" We're discussing business." Gu Jingze walked down calmly. "Have you paid the rent?" "Yes." "Hey, I already said I don't want the pay." "Good. The first month's rent is settled. Let's calculate the second month's." Gu Jingyu said, "Hey, I'm not as unscrupulous as you." Gu Jingze said, "Isn't it normal to pay 3 times the rent? The rent is only a few thousand a month." "The rent here is a little more expensive." "Is that a little more expensive?" Lin Che raised his head. He still didn't understand what he was trying to do. Gu Jingze said, "Lin Che's game has just been released. Since you've already starred in their film, why don't you endorse it? Gu Jingyu said, my endorsement fee is always more than 8 figures. Oh, my family's rent is always more than 9 figures. How could he bully me like this? Gu Jingyu still wanted to resist. Gu Jingzi said again, oh yeah, our family is looking for a rich girl for you. I heard she's from Austria. Gu Jingyu said quickly, okay. I'll do it. It's just an endorsement. I'll do it, okay? When Lin Che heard this, he hurriedly jumped over. Really? You're going to endorse our company's game? Ah, that's great. How many fangirls can we attract now? Did he want to endorse it? Lin Che turned around and looked at Gu Jingzi. Although he was a little unscrupulous, business was more important. With Gu Jingyu's endorsement, the effect would be obvious. Of course, she wouldn't refuse. She glanced at Gu Jingzi with a smile. She felt that he was so nice to her. As for Gu Jingyu, he just looked at the black-hearted couple with a dark face. Lin Che, you've been led astray by second brother. Lin Che wasn't this bad in the past. The next day, Gu Jingyu went to Triumph Sheng to sign the contract. Everyone was surprised to hear that Gu Jingyu was going to be the spokesperson. Gu Jingyu sighed and sat there. His expression was as if he was selling himself. However, Lin Che was all smiles as he coaxed Gu Jingyu. You won't lose out either. Really, our game is very popular. You'll know once you play it. The number of players has almost broken 100 million, alright? It hasn't been long since the open beta. Gu Jingyu said, I thought that escaping from the Gu family was like escaping from a fire pit. I didn't expect that I would fall into another pit. Lin Che still felt like laughing. She turned to look for King. After what happened last time, King had become much more well-behaved. When he looked at Lin Che, he always looked a little apologetic. KG gave her some data. You can take a look at our data after the open beta. Lin Che said, when Gu Jingyu is going to be the spokesperson, get him a special spokesperson number. I'll ask him what name he wants to register later. He will also get Gu Jingyu a special jacket and make it more eye-catching. He'll definitely have a bunch of fangirls. KG said, okay. Lin Che said, what do you think? I don't really understand these things. KG said, I don't know much about publicity. You don't have to ask me about these things. Lin Che said, although that's what I say, you're still the creator of the game. I still have to listen to your opinions. Lin Che said, didn't we agree back then? You're joining as a studio, so we're in a cooperative relationship. We'll discuss everything. If you think we're not doing well, you can tell me directly. KG looked at her deeply. No, I think it's very good. Crooked Neck grinned and said, that's right. Whatever Sister Che does, KG thinks it's good. KG glanced at him. Crooked Neck hurriedly changed his words. Because Sister Che is really good. We all think she's good. Crooked Neck wasn't lying. They didn't have anything else they wanted. Now that they were able to make this game and see their studio's name imprinted on the game, they were very busy, but they also felt at ease. Lin Che had already given them the respect they had promised, and it was even better than what they had expected. Now he would ask them about everything. This made them truly feel that they were being valued, that their opinions and rights were being valued, and that was enough. Crooked Neck said, Sister Che, there are people from school who want to intern here recently. We were just a studio at first, but now we've come to work at such a big company. Don't mention how envious everyone is. They wouldn't forget this. It was Lin Che who gave them this opportunity, allowing their studio to flourish in an instant. There are other investors who want to look for us and poach us over to make games. Lin Che's eyes widened. There are people poaching us so soon. They're not giving us any face. Crooked Neck said, then we definitely won't go. How can we be better than Sister Che? We won't go no matter how much money they give us. Moreover, they're not even giving us as much as Sister Che. How much money do we get from making a game? Who would want their dead salary? Lin Che said with a smile, good. Nice bootlicking. He was joking, but Crooked Neck was very serious when he said it. The two parties who signed the contract for the game had the copyright. They shared it, and the dividends were also divided. As long as the game was done well, the dividends would indeed be very impressive. These university students had just entered society, and they had already obtained their first pot of gold. They became rich overnight, leaving their classmates in the dust. However, they also knew that this was under the premise that the game was done well. Lin Che looked at them. At first, they came together in high spirits. Actually, they were just trying their luck. Now that they were so grateful, she felt very satisfied. She didn't lead them down the wrong path, and allowed them to be satisfied with their current results. This made her finally heave a sigh of relief. News of Gu Jingyu endorsing the game light spread. As expected, it caused a huge uproar once again. In the game, Gu Jingyu gave himself a domineering name, Boundless Light. The game even specially created a special ID for him, and also created a set of armor for him so that he would attract attention when he appeared in the game. At the same time, all registered players could become friends with Gu Jingyu's account in the game. However, Gu Jingyu naturally wouldn't bother with their chats. He had set up special groups. Those he knew would be in one group and those who joined him would be in another. If someone came knocking on his door, he wouldn't receive a notification. However, once he went online, all the players would receive a notification, "Your friend, Boundless Light, is online." Chapter 1204. After he became the spokesperson, he started an activity. It was for Gu Jingyu to go online at night and participate in a team battle. He would be matched with other players. The so-called team battle meant that a few people would form a team to PK and snatch resources. Whoever won would get the resources. At night, Gu Jingyu went online while Lin Che and Gu Jingze watched from behind. They used the computer in Gu Jingze's study. Gu Jingyu had specially bought a gaming keyboard. He stretched his wrist. After playing for a few days, he was much more familiar with it. It was easy for a man to play games. He had played many games before, so he was very familiar with it. Soon Gu Jingyu went online. Crooked Neck and the others were in his team. They had been gaming experts for a long time and they were here to experience it. Moreover, they didn't want to be matched with professional esports players when they teamed up with Gu Jingyu. They didn't want to beat up the people they were matched with. That would be quite boring. After the match was successful, the people on the other side saw the shiny equipment. The words flashed on the computer screen. "Damn, I'm so lucky to be matched with Gu Jingyu today. Damn, what's the point of playing then?" At the same time, the live broadcast platform was also playing the match. Many fangirls had already entered the live broadcast. They were all shouting on the live broadcast platform, "Jingyu beat up the other side. Jingyu is so handsome. Jingyu's character looks like him in real life." Lin Che looked at the comments on the screen and thought, how do they look like each other? Fangirls? There's something wrong with their eyes. The live broadcast platform screen had already caught up. In just a short while, it was almost impossible to see what everyone was posting. However, the speed at which gifts were being sent had already flooded the screen. It could be seen that Gu Jinyu's popularity was really incomparable. He had just come back and he hadn't even released any work yet, and there were already so many people rushing over to watch him. The people on the other side looked at them. What were these fangirls doing? Were they looking forward to their death so much? An unconvinced person shouted, all right, let's go and beat up Gu Jinyu." A few people immediately shouted and ran over. They grabbed Gu Jinyu, who was still developing, and started beating him up. Gu Jinyu quickly dodged. Damn, it can't be. Did I offend you? You beat me up?" Lin Che saw this and quickly said, Hey, I'm broadcasting." Only then did Gu Jinyu remember that he was still in the middle of a live broadcast. Oh, cut off the inappropriate words just now. I'm not scolding anyone. I'm just saying, why did these people hit me? When everyone saw that Gu Jinyu had such a side to him, they couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Gu Jinyu is so cute. I knew it. Although Gu Jinyu is usually cold, he's just too lazy to deal with reporters. He's so warm in person. Gu Jinyu's hands are so beautiful. In short, Gu Jinyu's poop was fragrant. Gu Jingze rolled his eyes. But at the same time, someone else noticed something else. What's going on? I heard a woman's voice. Isn't he Gu Jinyu's manager? His agent is a man. That woman's voice sounds like Lin Che's. Are the two of them together now? Heavens, I seem to have discovered some incredible secret. Moreover, someone suddenly said, why do I feel that the place where Gu Jinyu is doing the live broadcast is so luxurious? Yeah, it feels like an extraordinary place. Did you forget that Gu Jinyu's surname is Gu? He's definitely at the Gu family's villa. What a tycoon. Did Lin Che follow him to the Gu family's villa? Lin Che is so lucky. If he follows Gu Jinyu, he can go to the Gu family's villa to experience it. I heard that outsiders can't enter. It's all guarded by bodyguards. Look, Jinyu was killed again. At the side, Crooked Neck and the others were already trying their best to protect Gu Jinyu. However, later on, Crooked Neck realized that these people were really looking for Gu Jinyu everywhere. Crooked Neck and the others held the attitude of being number one in the game, so they went to the enemy's villa to rob the resources. After all, killing people wasn't the number one. Winning the game was the number one. This was a game with a bit of strategy. It didn't just let you kill people. Later on they simply let Gu Jingyu be the bait. Gu Jingyu was surrounded, but they didn't go over to help. Instead, they waited to attack the enemy's backline. At first, Gu Jingyu paid attention to his image, but later on, he was so angry that he directly cursed. "You guys are doing this on purpose, aren't you? Oh crooked neck, you threw me there to be bait, didn't you? Oh fuck, you want me to be bait? Just you wait, I have emotions too, okay? KG, why are you like this too?" Because Gu Jingyu's behavior was too different from usual, this live stream soon became the hottest news. It was said that Gu Jingyu was playing games in the live stream. The young gamer cursed continuously. He was very different from the Gu Jingyu on the screen. When everyone saw this, they were very curious. Why was he different? Hence, another wave of people entered the live stream. Then, even the people who played games with Gu Jingyu became popular. What's that crooked neck for? Who's KG? Who's in their team? He's a professional betrayer. Everyone laughed and watched. For the whole night there were endless jokes. This live stream had created so much fun. Hence, there was no doubt that the game would continue to be popular the next day. In one night, the number of downloads directly exceeded 100 million. The number of registered users also directly doubled. Lin Che was overjoyed. Looking at the gaming platform saying that the most popular game of the year was probably going to be Light, he felt as though he could see money falling down the drain. However, of course, everyone naturally did not know that this game was originally created by Lin Che. Hence, they were still saying that Lin Che was lucky to have chosen the right script. If the game was so popular, the TV series wouldn't be bad either, right? Of course, there were also people who said that it might be terrible and let the fans down. On the set, everyone was busy. Because the audience had high expectations, everyone felt that they had to live up to their expectations. They were very busy and full of energy. Gu Jingyu and Lin Che's scenes had always come as they pleased. Hence, at this moment she did not even look at the script. Instead, she was enthusiastically playing the game. After the few days of endorsement, Gu Jingyu suddenly felt that this game was really fun. She became addicted to it and every day she would play it whenever she had time. Lin Che watched from the side, his heart filled with both joy and worry. She said, "Don't go overboard. You're not even filming properly anymore. Don't kill the donkey when it's no longer of use. Don't you see how many people I help you get to register every day?" "Yeah, I see it. Right now, the headlines on Weibo are all saying that the internet addict Gu Jingyu is addicted to games again. How can there not be many people playing? You're on it every day." Chapter 1205. "So, aren't you going to treat me to a meal?" Come on. Treat me to a meal," Gu Jingyu said with a smile. Lin Che glared at him. She saw that the visiting reporters were still aiming at the two of them. Then she saw Gu Jingyu's ambiguous expression. She immediately knew that he was doing it on purpose. Lin Che snorted. She wouldn't fall for his trick. If she went out alone with him, the reporters would be looking for trouble. How could she not write nonsense? She said, Okay, treat me." "Really?" Lin Che was so obedient today. He raised his eyebrows in confusion. Lin Che had already raised her head and said, "The crew is having a meal today. Everyone has worked hard these few days. The crew is treating you to a meal." "Oh, that's great. Sister Che is so nice to us." Lin Che smiled and turned to look at Gu Jingyu, who was speechless. She was telling him, "Do you think I'm easy to fool?" Anyway, the crew had wanted to treat everyone to a meal to reward them. They had been working overtime recently and it was really tiring. So, they might as well treat them to a meal together. Gu Jingyu said, "As expected, after you got together with second brother, you took after him." "I'm happy to." Lin Che raised her head proudly. She wasn't ashamed but proud. Lin Che quickly asked her assistant to book a hotel. The place couldn't be too bad. Although there were many people, it was a rare gathering. Lin Che would usually choose a good place. This time they came to eat at a Japanese restaurant. Many people loved to eat them. Some of them were raw while others were cooked. Especially the girls, they ate happily. Gu Jingyu naturally sat together with Lin Che. He drank some sake and was a little drunk. "I told you that I have good eyes. Look, I knew that you would have a bright future." "Really? Then you didn't realize that I was your second sister-in-law?" "Get lost." Gu Jingyu looked at Lin Che. Unfortunately, he had met her a little too late. However, he wasn't lusting after his second sister-in-law now. He had already accepted that she was his sister-in-law. Moreover, he really hoped that a girl like Lin Che could be happy. He just felt that he actually wanted a girl like that, but he just couldn't find one at the moment. Every girl that his family found for him, he felt very annoyed. Why wasn't he as lucky as his second brother to meet such a suitable girl? After a moment of melancholy, he got up and said, "Go pee." "Have a safe journey, moi," said Lin Che. Meanwhile, on the other side. "Hey, can you move to the side? Someone's sitting here, okay?" Suwon was just about to sit down when someone squeezed to the side. Suwon looked at her. They were both small actors in the crew. Her scenes were slightly more than this girl's, so she was constantly pushed aside. It was just because Suwon and Lin Che had a grudge in the past. Because of the endorsement issue, they had some history. So they secretly wondered what Lin Che was thinking. Why would he bring this woman into the cast and give her so many scenes? Someone said, "Sister Che is too magnanimous." Someone said, "Maybe Lin Che just wants to use her to show his magnanimity. But she's so shameless. She leached off Lin Che's popularity in the past and now she still has the nerve to come here to play roles." That's right. I've never seen such a thick-skinned person. You guys don't know, but she even snatched her own sister's boyfriend in the past and killed him. She's very famous in the circle. Suwon felt a stab in her heart. Yes, she was the one who killed him. Suwon thought that because of this, her family started to hate her completely. They treated the younger sister that they brought from the orphanage as their own daughter. Instead, they felt that she wasn't their own. From then on, Sujan started to bully her and even framed her for the conflict with Lin Che, making it difficult for her to move forward in the circle. Suwon closed her eyes. However, even if they wanted to cut off all of her paths, she still had to prepare and work hard to move forward. After being pushed aside, Suwon walked out. But she didn't expect that suddenly she felt someone pressing down on her neck from behind. Then she was lifted up like a little chick and her mouth was immediately covered with something. A strange fragrance made her mind muddled. Is it this woman? That's her. I didn't expect her to be so tender. Let's go. Suwon heard someone say this and felt that something was wrong. What's wrong with her? What are these people doing? You guys, let me go, she said in a daze. Oh, why would we let you go? You're going to tightly clamp us in a while and not let go. Hee little beauty, come quickly. I can't wait anymore. You guys, together, the two of them dragged her out. Who let you guys come? Sujan, is it her? Snatched everything from her and framed her until she was worthless. Wasn't that enough? You don't need to know this. Serve me well and we might tell you. Ah. Suwon wasn't convinced. She couldn't be destroyed by Sujan like this. She just got a new role. Lin Che didn't have a gap with her because of what happened in the past. At this time she suddenly saw the wine bottle on the side. She grabbed it. She didn't know who placed it here, but she wanted to grab it as soon as possible. Knocking it on the ground, she quickly picked up the wine bottle and poked the person behind her. Ha! Accompanied by a scream, she finally escaped. In front of her, a figure swayed. She stumbled and caught hold of him. Save me, help me. Gu Jingyu narrowed his eyes. You are, save me. Suwon was confused. She looked at his face that was getting closer. She couldn't see the expression on his face, but she could clearly see his vermilion lips. With a fatal attraction, she stood on her tiptoes and moved closer to him. Woo! Before Gu Jingyu could react, he was already pushed down by the woman. The tip of her tongue entered his mouth and sucked on his lips sweetly. He was forcefully kissed by someone? Gu Jingyu found it hard to accept at the moment. However, as he watched the woman squinting her eyes and rubbing her hot body against his thin clothes, he suddenly felt a fire burning in his body. He didn't know if it was because he was also drunk, but he suddenly felt a fire burning in his body. He tightened his grip and held her body. After tripping her, he turned around and pressed her down. From being passive to being active, he forcefully pressed her lips. Suwon only felt her body getting hotter. Her body also took the initiative and climbed onto his body. Chapter 1206. When Gu Jingyu woke up, he saw the person in front of him. Naked, lying there bareback, the lines are very nice. Suwon also followed in a daze and woke up to the sunlight. When she raised her head and saw the person in front of her, she sat up in shock. Who was the person in front of her? His handsome eyebrows were slightly raised. His naked body was faintly discernible under the quilt. On his handsome face, there was a bit of resentment after waking up. His knitted eyebrows still looked very good. His gaze was fixed on her face with some indescribable emotions. Gu Jingyu, of course she knew Gu Jingyu. She just didn't know why he was by her side. She suddenly thought of what happened last night. Suwon threw herself on someone on the road and asked for help. Then, the pain under her body reminded her of what just happened. She lifted the quilt and saw the red spots on the quilt. confirming her guess. Oh my god, she threw herself on Gu Jingyu at night and then, the national idol had fallen asleep just like that. She covered her mouth and looked at Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu closed his eyes and looked at her, not moving for a long time. Su Wan's heart palpitated and she quickly sat up. Sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. Last night I was just asking for help on the road. I didn't expect. Gu Jingyu pulled her up. Then the way you asked for help was really special. Su Wan bit her lip and thought about it. Who would ask for help like this? However, she was in a daze at the time and really didn't know what happened. She said, I was in a daze at night and didn't know what happened. So you're saying that you don't know who I am? I really didn't see who it was. The Gu Jingyu's eyes sharpened. Didn't see who she was. So, she just gave herself to someone else? Gu Jingyu stood up and said, since it's like this, then let's pretend that nothing happened. Okay, I will. Su Wan quickly said. She just hoped that Gu Jingyu wouldn't think that she did it on purpose. She quickly got up and didn't say anything. However, when she got off the bed, she fell on her butt because of the pain in her leg. She quickly got up and didn't dare to look back. She quickly ran out. After leaving this place, she didn't expect that outside, someone was chasing after her. Not long after he left, his phone vibrated. He picked it up and saw that there were more than 20 missed calls from last night. It was from home and an unfamiliar number. At this moment, it was another stranger. Hey, are you Su Wan? It's me. We are the police. You injured Renong last night. If you don't come now, we have already located you. Do you want to surrender yourself, or do we want to arrest you? It's up to you. What? Police station. Su Wan turned herself in. But she didn't want to turn herself in. She just wanted to explain the situation. Mr. Policeman, I was really drugged by them. They wanted to harm me, so I had no choice but to fight back and defend myself. This is a legitimate defense, right? You can still fight when you're unconscious? I was in a hurry. I don't know where I got the strength from. But your test results just now didn't show any abnormalities. Nothing at all. It happened last night. Maybe the drug has been expelled today. Besides, it was originally inhaled. I don't think there's much in the blood. Do you understand or do I? You? Su Wan watched as the policeman finished speaking. Then she slapped the table and left. As for Gu Jingyu, after coming out, he received a call from his agent asking where he went. He was annoyed but still returned to the set. Why isn't Su Wan here? Yeah, this character has scenes today. I can't contact her. Gu Jingyu heard Su Wan's name and went over to see the costume. He suddenly remembered that it was the girl from yesterday. Her name is Su Wan? He walked over. The assistant directors who were still talking were shocked and quickly became respectful. Jingyu, what can I do for you? Gu Jingyu said, what's wrong with this person? Why isn't she here yet? Gu Jingyu actually cared about the problems of actors. The assistant director said, oh, it's a small problem. I don't know why she isn't here yet. I can't get through to her on the phone. Aya, if this continues, I'll just ask the company to take her back. Alright, don't worry. Usually this girl is quite hardworking. I don't know what's wrong with her today. Every day when there aren't any scenes, she would come to help. She watches others film and even helps me carry props. She's pretty good. Something must have happened for her to not come. Gu Jingyu frowned. Seeing that Gu Jingyu was still here, the assistant director asked him, Jingyu, if there's anything, just say it. Don't worry, this actress won't affect your scenes. Of course, if a small actor affected the lead scenes, then no one would be able to do it. Gu Jingyu said, it's fine, there's no need. Alright, give me her number. He wants her number? The assistant director felt a little strange. But they had to quickly give Gu Jingyu whatever he wanted. The phone was still in Gu Jingyu's hands very quickly. Gu Jingyu cursed and picked up the phone to make a call. Indeed, no one picked up. What happened? Did he hurt her last night? It was her first time, so he could naturally feel it. But because of the effects of alcohol, he didn't take pity on her first time. At this moment, suddenly a few policemen walked in. Hello, someone called Su Wan. She's from your crew, right? Ah, yes. There were many people in the crew, so this kind of thing would happen occasionally. Some people would turn their heads to look when they saw the police coming, while some wouldn't even look. Anyway, it was the crew's matter and probably had nothing to do with them. Otherwise, the crew's assistant would have looked for them long ago. But the people who heard it felt strange. What happened to Su Wan that she even called the police over? He said, Su Wan is now suspected of intentionally hurting Ong and wants to understand the situation. What? Suspected of intentionally hurting? Who did she hurt? Gu Jingyu usually didn't care about this kind of thing, but he didn't know why he suddenly heard this at this time. Intentionally hurting? Then she's now in the police station. Suwon looked at the person who came. I really am. Okay, someone's here to pick you up. Suwon was stunned. She waited for an entire morning and no one paid attention to her. Now someone actually came to pick her up? Oh, your crew. Oh. She was really surprised that someone from the crew would actually come to pick her up. However, when she got outside, the person standing there was wearing a cap, a mask and a pair of big black sunglasses. However, even with such a tight disguise, it still couldn't hide the strong aura on his body. Chapter 1207. Gu Jingyu. Why did he come? The people nearby were already attracted by the handsome figure, but they didn't dare to guess who it was. No one guessed that it was Gu Jingyu either. Because why would Gu Jingyu come to the police station himself? With his identity, a lawyer could handle everything. Suwon was surprised and her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that he was still angry about what happened last night and came to the police station to settle the score with her? Suwon ran over. You? Gu Jingyu turned around and looked at her. You hit someone last night? He found out that before she met him, she had injured someone's chest with a beer bottle. The injury wasn't very serious, just a superficial wound, but it still looked very scary. At this time, the person was still lying in the hospital, waiting for the police to seek justice for him. Suwon bit her lower lip. Yeah, it was self-defense. Why did you hit someone? He lowered his head and asked. Suwon said, they drugged me. He frowned. Drugged? So she was drugged last night. Why would they use this on you? Because I think maybe my sister called them. She didn't want me to live well and now she's just getting worse. He took a breath and looked at her, not saying anything else. Let's go. Huh? Has everything been taken care of here? I'll let the lawyer handle it, he said. After that, he walked out as if he didn't want to stay here for a moment longer. Outside. After getting into Gu Jingyu's car, he looked at her. Where do you live? Suwon said, I still have to go to the film set. I still have scenes today. Gu Jingyu frowned. I've already applied for leave for you. Suwon looked at him gratefully. It turned out that he wasn't that hard to get along with. Tell me, where do you live? He said impatiently. I'm still living in the school dormitory. She was still studying at the drama academy and was now a third-year student. Although the school was concerned that students could apply for leave when they went out to film and didn't have to go to class, she was still a student. He looked at her again. Looking at her smooth skin, she was indeed very small. Soon the car arrived at the school gate. I just stop over there. There's no need to go over. What would happen if Gu Jingyu entered the school? Could he still walk in? Although many students had seen a lot of celebrities because of their part-time jobs, they hadn't seen many national idols like Gu Jingyu. It was too difficult to meet him. Therefore, many of her classmates were envious, jealous, and hated her for being able to join the production team of Glory. Someone even asked her if she had seen Gu Jingyu before. Yes, I have. Now, not only had he met her, Gu Jingyu said, not yet. No need, don't go in, she said hurriedly. He turned his head. Why? Because a lot of people inside know you. It's not good to be seen. Suwon said. Gu Jingyu wanted to laugh. Isn't it good to be seen? What? Am I embarrassing you? No, of course not. It's just that if you go in, everyone will know you and they will definitely surround you. I'm worried that they will misunderstand our relationship or surround you and cause unnecessary trouble. Is it because you're too famous? Gu Jingyu listened to her explanation and laughed. He looked at this woman. She didn't want others to know that she had a relationship with him. What? Wouldn't there be more topics and news if she had a relationship with him? Was it because she was afraid of trouble or was it because she was worried that people would ostracize her? He didn't know. He shook his head, wondering why he was thinking about this. However, he didn't stop. Instead, he stepped on the accelerator. Hey you, Suwon wanted to call him but realized that he was already at the door. Not only at the door. After passing the door, he even drove straight in. He had a pass in his car so he didn't need to say anything to the security guard. You. Where are you driving to? Suwon shouted. However, Gu Jingyu acted as if he didn't hear her words and continued to drive inside. He only stopped when he reached the female dormitory. He even knew that this was the female dormitory. However, he seemed to have gone to school here before. Although it wasn't when he was in university, it was understandable that he knew this was the female dormitory. There were many beauties outside. Suwon looked at him and he raised his brows. Okay, go down. Damn, how was she supposed to go down? However, Gu Jingyu already narrowed his eyes. Go down. Su-won bit her lower lip and could only turn around and jump down. She quickly ran inside and didn't dare to look back, afraid that people would see that she had a relationship with the 2 luxury cars that entered the school. Gu Jingyu sat in the car with one hand on the side and watched her run in. He raised his brows and smiled. She still dared to think that it would be bad if he came in? He was the one who would be affected. What bad effect would it have on her? Who did she think she was? However, after Su-won went in, she realized that she was still discovered. Su-won, why did a car send you? Yeah. Is it from your crew? Su-won said, a car came to send me. It's from the crew. She went in dejectedly, still feeling some pain down there. Thinking about it now, she still felt her face burning. Last night, she seemed to have done it for too long and it was her first time. It was a bit uncomfortable. He was too brave. Different from others, he was so passionate in bed. As if he was another Gu Jingyu. A few people looked at Su-won. Your crew is too good. Even the car is so luxurious. Su-won, you're lucky. You were chosen by such a good crew. You're going to be popular this time. Su-won is obviously the most popular among us. She's been on the headlines before. They said that she stole Lin Che's endorsement. That time it was quite a big deal. Although she was slapped in the face later. Everyone still thought it was funny. They looked at Su-won and started mocking her. Su-won was used to their mockery. She was too lazy to say anything and just walked in. Everyone watched as Su-won walked in and snorted. Really? Isn't she just acting in a small role? There's even a car from the crew to pick her up? She didn't sleep with some rich guy, right? Maybe. The circle is so messy. She just entered and used Lin Che to create hype. Everyone snorted. They were jealous that Su-won could act in such a popular TV series. As for Gu Jingyu, when she returned to the crew, Lin Che was still trying on his clothes. Gu Jingyu, where did you go? She asked. Gu Jingyu replied, I went out for a walk. What? Hey, I'm the boss. Can't I ask where you went to have fun? Everyone looked at Lin Che and him. This kind of conversation could only be said between the two of them. Other people definitely wouldn't dare to joke around with Gu Jingyu. Chapter 1208. Gu Jingyu sat down and crossed his legs. He thought back to the past. That woman was actually quite tasty. Although it didn't matter if it was her first time or not, he still felt a little guilty knowing that it was her first time. Lin Che went home with Gu Jingyu that night. Fortunately, there were no reporters following them. Otherwise, they would think too much if they saw the two of them together. In the car, Lin Che asked, Where did you go today? Gu Jingyu wasn't like this in the past. Although he was an S-list celebrity, he was still a very professional person. In the past, no matter when, he would stay with the crew. He wouldn't go out for a day without saying a word. Gu Jingyu said, What? I was only late for a day. At most, you can deduct my pay. Didn't you pay the rent? Heh, how can you be so disloyal to my second brother? Lin Che looked at Gu Jingyu's evasive look and suddenly thought of something. Gu Jingyu, you can't be what? It can't be because of a woman, right? Gu Jingyu raised his eyebrows and looked at the gossipy woman. Hey, where did this woman come from? I think you're a little suspicious. Lin Che laughed. Gu Jingyu said, believe it or not, I'll beat you up. I don't believe it. If you dare to hit me, your second brother won't let you off first. Why do I feel like you're a villain intoxicated by success? Gu Jingyu tilted his head and looked at her. Lin Che smiled proudly. Of course. Let's go back to the game. I'll kill you. Killing people in the game wasn't against the law. He wanted to kill this little woman who kept asking questions for no reason. Lin Che said, Alright, come at me. I'm not afraid of you. Just based on your ability in the game. During the last event, he was almost beaten up in the game. After that, the netizens felt sorry for him and said that Gu Jingyu was really, always getting killed while playing the game. Gu Jingyu said indignantly, That's because they ganged up on me. Later on, I won't be polite to you. When they went back, the two of them each took a computer and started the game. The game was so popular that the area was basically full, but it was still possible to enter. As soon as Gu Jingyu came online, the entire world was shouting, Gu Jingyu is here again. Hey, why again? Because Gu Jingyu has been playing a lot lately. How pitiful. He was beaten so badly last time, but he still hasn't lost his confidence in the game. Lin Che couldn't help but laugh out loud when he saw the messages in the World Channel. Gu Jingyu's face darkened. Fortunately, Gu Jingyu's fans immediately swarmed over. They even formed a fan club in the game with the word "you" in front of their names. Anyone who dared to say anything bad about Gu Jingyu in the game would immediately be attacked. The fans spent money like flowing water. In order to protect their idols, they did not hesitate to spend a large amount of money on small speakers. They shouted over and over again, brushing away all the words in the world. They used the flowers and the small speakers to decorate the screen and cheer for their idols. Lin Che and Gu Jingyu found a place on the map and started fighting. Gu Jingyu said, "Humph, don't run. I'll beat you until you look for your teeth all over the floor." Lin Che chuckled, "That depends on how capable you are." While the two of them were fighting, Lin Che felt that someone was coming over. In an instant, someone realized that Gu Jingyu was here and quickly shouted in the world channel, "I caught Gu Jingyu." The advantage of Gu Jingyu in the game was that even if he was discovered, you couldn't stop him from leaving in the game. Hence, after Gu Jingyu got used to it, he didn't get caught by the onlookers as they couldn't hinder him anyway. This time the people who came noticed that he was fighting with someone. "Aya, who is this damnable 123? That was Lin Che's name. Everyone laughed and thought that this person was actually fighting with Gu Jingyu. Look, Gu Jingyu is fighting with someone. "Aya, who is she? Why is she hitting our Jingyu?" "Nonsense, it's obviously our Jingyu who is hitting her." "Protect Jingyu. Ugly, stay away from our Jingyu and don't hit anyone." Gu Jingyu's fan club quickly surrounded them. However, Lin Che and Gu Jingyu weren't affected at all and continued to fight. Gu Jingyu was slightly better than Lin Che because he was the spokesperson and got more equipment for him. However, Lin Che was the boss after all, so he secretly got some equipment for himself too. Moreover, she was more wretched as she ran after hitting him. Gu Jingyu was speechless and shouted, "You only know how to run, don't you know how to fight? Come on, let's fight together." Lin Che chuckled and thought to himself, "I won't go." The people at the side became even more excited, especially when they saw that Gu Jingyu was about to be at a disadvantage. "This woman is bullying our Jingyu. Don't bully him. Where did she come from? How dare she bully our Jingyu? Shameless bully. She must have seen our Jingyu playing in the wild and purposely came over. Aya, she's too wretched. If you have the guts, just fight her." "That's right, our Jingyu is too straightforward." The people at the side clamored for a long time and scolded Lin Che. However, someone passed by and said in the world channel, "That's enough. I think that person knows Gu Jingyu." "How could that be?" someone asked. That person said, "That's an internal account. If it's not a god, then it's a tycoon. That's why there's such a closed beta account. It's actually a closed beta account that hasn't been deleted. It looks like she's a tycoon or a higher up in the game. Don't scold her, her friend is just joking." Hearing that, everyone seemed to understand a lot. Looking at Lin Che's account, they felt even more envious. A tycoon? It's good to be a tycoon, to be able to play games with Gu Jingyu. When Gu Jingza came in, he saw the two of them playing a game. Gu Jingyu said, "Fuck, you dare to hit me? I'll smack your butt." Lin Che laughed out loud. "You can't take it anymore, idiot. I've beaten you to a pulp, haven't I?" Gu Jingza narrowed his eyes. "What are you doing?" Gu Jingyu said, "Second brother, stand aside. I'm going to beat Lin Che to death." Gu Jingza chuckled and looked at the two of them. Yeah, having another person in the house was really an eyesore. Very quickly he walked out. The two of them were still in a heated battle, so they didn't notice him. However, not long after, "Gu Jingyu, I was wondering where you were hiding. So you ran to your second brother's place." Gu Jingyu heard Mu Wanqing's voice and jumped up from his seat. When he came out, he saw Mu Wanqing chasing after him. "Mother?" Chapter 1209. Gu Jingyu. Mu Wanqing said, "We've been looking for you for so long. Instead of coming home, you're still hiding outside." "Mom, how did you know I was here?" Mu Wanqing chased after him. "Come here." "Mom, I'm not going home, really? You can't not go home." Missin has been waiting there for 3 times, but you stood her up. Come here, I'm telling you, you can't run away this time." "I don't want to get married." "Even if you don't want to get married, you have to go and take a look." "Hey Gu Jingyu, you don't really like men, do you?" Gu Jingyu was speechless. Mu Wanqing said, "Even if you like men, you can bring them back. We can talk about it." "Mom, that's enough. I'm going home to see Missin." Mu Wanqing laughed when she heard that. Okay. Come back with me now. We'll discuss other things." Gu Jingza looked at them coldly. Gu Jingyu wanted to die. She glared at Gu Jingza and said, "Second brother." If Gu Jingza hadn't informed them, the Gu family wouldn't have known that Gu Jingyu was here. If Gu Jingza's people didn't want to leak information, they would be impregnable unless they wanted to. Gu Jingyu was brought back just like that. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingza and patted his chest. What happened? How did his family find out? Gu Jingza said, maybe he was on the news and his family found out. They won't go anywhere else. I'm the only one who will take him in. But it's good for him to go back. Lin Che sighed. How pitiful. Gu Jingza hugged her. All right, go back and rest. A glint flashed in his eyes. He smiled and walked in. Because Gu Jingyu was brought back, the family asked Gu Jingza and Lin Che to bring the child back. It was said that Missen had come over for a blind date with Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingza explained to Lin Che, Enlan and Gu Jingyu met when they were young. But Enlan was too young at that time. Maybe he doesn't remember. Our families were good friends back then. Because my grandfather helped them, he treated her very well. But later they moved to the United States and have been living there ever since. If that's the case, then why must the two of them get married now? Lin Che said. Gu Jingza said, because our family owes them a favor. The In family hopes to unite our families through marriage so we can repay the favor. Ah. Jingyu is the only one in the family who hasn't gotten married yet, so we can only let him go. Then? Gu Jingyu is quite pitiful. So you want me to go? Gu Jingza looked at him. When Lin Che saw this, he hurriedly hugged him and said, of course not. Gu Jingza snorted and turned his head away. She even dared to pity another man. Even if this man was his younger brother. Lin Che immediately understood the meaning behind his gaze. Whether Gu Jingza was angry, worried, or jealous, she could tell very clearly now. For example, his current expression was definitely that of jealousy. She chuckled, hugged him and said, Gu Jingza. She moved closer to him, hugged his arm with both hands, and rested her chin on his shoulder. Look, you're already better than Gu Jingyu in everything. You're more handsome than him, taller than him, sexier than him, and more attractive than him. Now you have such a beautiful wife like me, but he has nothing and has to go on a blind date with someone he doesn't even know. How pitiful. Gu Jingza looked at her. She was really good at flattering people. Lin Che laughed even more and said to him, do you think I'm right? Gu Jingza tapped her head. She stepped forward and gently kissed him on the lips. Unexpectedly, the car had already stopped by the side. The people below could see the two of them being intimate inside through the car window. Enlan couldn't help but say, who's that? Not only did the car drive straight in, but the person inside was also so unscrupulous. Didn't the Gu family have many rules? When she came in, the family members had even warned her to pay attention to etiquette. But now, this person had no manners at all and had come in so intimately. The people beside her quickly said, Miss, stop looking. That's the master of the Gu family, Gu Jingza. Enlan was even more surprised. The master is always so bold. I heard that he dotes on his wife. That's why he's like this. Is that so? And Ran indeed saw the two of them coming down hand in hand. He looked down at Lin Che and gently adjusted her collar. His face was stern as he reprimanded her, but his eyes were full of affection. And the woman was smiling, her eyes curved into crescents, looking full of happiness. The man of the Gu family, he didn't seem to be as vicious as the rumors said. She thought that a man who was so gentle to his woman must be a good person. And Ran couldn't help but look forward to meeting Gu Jingyu. Although he had stood her up a few times, if he was such a good person, she would forgive him for his past impoliteness. Although she knew that he was a celebrity and had specially looked for his movies to watch and knew what he looked like, she had also met a lot of celebrities. In private it was completely different. So, if she wanted to understand this person she had to meet him in person. On the other side Lin Che saw Missen coming in. She said, although she's from America she looks quite old-fashioned. Gu Jingza nodded. Their family has opened an overseas Chinese town over there. They live in the overseas Chinese town all year round. More than 70% of the overseas Chinese town is owned by their family. So, sometimes their family knows more about tradition than the people in the country. Because many of the overseas Chinese in the past have preserved many traditions. Oh, so that's how it is. 70% of the overseas Chinese town, she also knew how big an overseas Chinese town was. Not to mention other places, it was in Seattle. So many places belonged to their family. It seemed that their family's strength was not to be underestimated. However, to be able to make the Gu family owe him a favor, he must not be a small figure. This was what Lin Che thought as he followed Gu Jingza inside. Because the purpose of today was Gu Jingyu's blind date, they naturally went to the back and left all the seats for Gu Jingyu. Enlan came in and saw Gu Jingyu who was already seated inside. This time he didn't stand her up. She didn't expect that Gu Jingyu really wanted to escape last night, but he didn't. Now he could only be pressed here and wait for Enlan to come. Yesterday he was blocked at Lin Che's place. Because Mu Wanqing said that he liked men, he angrily agreed. When he came back he regretted his impulsiveness. Chapter 12:10. At this moment he was leaning against the wall, drinking tea. He ignored everyone and sat there without saying a word. When Mu Wanqing saw Enlan come in, she quickly kicked him. "Enlan, you're here. You must have had a hard journey. Come and sit down." Gu Jingyu didn't want to move, so Mu Wanqing secretly kicked him again. Gu Jingyu frowned, but he still stood up. It was just that he was standing crookedly like a hooligan. This was very different from his usual self. He looked like a hedonistic son of a rich family. Moreover, he was the kind of hedonistic son who had been spoiled to the point of being rebellious. Although Gu Jingyu was the most rebellious child of the Gu family, he was definitely different from the hedonistic sons of other families because the Gu family's upbringing was more strict. The Gu family had their own bottom line. The kind of person who would turn the world upside down and indulge in debauchery definitely didn't exist in the Gu family. However, Gu Jingyu was the best actor after all. He had acted in all kinds of roles, so it was easy for him to act in any role. His eyes were crooked and he put his hands in his pockets. Looking to the side, he pursed his lips and said, "This is Enlan." Enlan was instantly disappointed. He had thought that although he wasn't the head of the family and was a celebrity, he should still be a member of the Gu family, so he shouldn't be too far off. However, Gu Jingza, who had just become the head of the family, gave off a mature and steady feeling, with a restrained, domineering aura. But the man in front of him, why did he look so frivolous? Enlan looked at him, unable to hide the gloominess on his face. Mu Wanqing was also extremely surprised. She pulled Gu Jingyu and said, "What are you doing?" Gu Jingyu said, "What's wrong?" He still dared to say what was wrong. It wasn't like this before. Mu Wanqing secretly pinched Gu Jingyu. "Stand still." Ouch. Gu Jingyu let out a cry. Enlan was even more surprised. Why was the Gu family's third young master so? How disappointing. How could Mu Wanqing not know this son of hers? He did it on purpose. Mu Wanqing was about to continue messing with him when she saw the door open. Gu Jingza and Lin Che walked in one after another. Gu Jingza looked at Gu Jingyu. With just a glance, he seemed to have seen through Gu Jingyu's behavior. He smiled and said, "Missin, please don't mind him. Jingyu is still a child. He has a strong desire to perform. He will only hide his emotions when he meets someone who makes him nervous." Gu Jingyu glared at him. What did he mean by concealing his emotions? Gu Jingza was here to ruin his plan, wasn't he? Enlan looked at Gu Jingza and then at Gu Jingyu. The two of them looked very similar. They were both sexy and charming. However, their temperaments were worlds apart. Enlan watched as Gu Jingza pulled out a chair for Lin Che. He then pulled out a chair for himself. As the family head, he was so meticulous and considerate, doing everything for Lin Che. But Gu Jingyu, Enlan looked at Gu Jingza and then at Gu Jingyu. He wondered why he was so unlucky. If she had come on a blind date before Gu Jingza got married, she would have married Gu Jingza. However, she was still too young a few years ago, and her family was reluctant to let her go. Now that she was 20 years old, her family quickly asked her to come on a blind date. However, Gu Jingza was already married. Gu Jingyu was not married, but he was like this. Lin Che also looked at the girl who came on a blind date and then looked at Gu Jingyu. This was a far cry from the glorious Gu Jingyu who attracted the attention of a large number of fangirls wherever he went. Although he was usually rebellious and arrogant, he was definitely cold and had the charm of a male lead. How did he become a hooligan now? She rolled her eyes and understood. This Gu Jingyu was really good at messing around. Lin Che looked at him and couldn't help but want to laugh. However, he couldn't laugh in front of outsiders. She held it in and couldn't help but say to Gu Jingza, "I'm going out for a walk. I'll accompany you." He was about to get up. Lin Che said, "It's okay. I'll go by myself. I'll be back soon." It was better for Gu Jingyu to stay here for a blind date. It was fine if she went out by herself. Outside, the helper looked at Lin Che and bowed slightly. A person walked over and looked at Lin Che. He lowered his head and said, "Madam, old master wants to see you." Lin Che said, "Old master? Gu Xianda?" She hadn't seen him for a long time. He had been recuperating after he fell ill. He was annoyed to see Lin Che like this, so he naturally wouldn't disturb him. He also didn't take the initiative to ask her to go over, so the two of them had been peaceful these days. She said, "Why does old master want to see me?" "Madam, I don't know. You'll find out when you go over. Lin Che knew that these old foxes of the Gu family wouldn't say anything. Even if they knew everything, they wouldn't say anything in front of their master. Lin Che didn't waste her breath asking more questions. As he said, she would find out when she went over. They entered an antique room. Gu Xinda was sitting in a wheelchair drinking tea. He looked at Lin Che. He hadn't seen him for a long time. There were so many wrinkles on his face that it was almost impossible to see his past appearance clearly. He looked at Lin Che. Little Che. Lin Che said, "Grandfather, are you okay?" It's hard for you to still care. Thank you. It wasn't that ironic, but he was really grateful that she would still call him that and greet him that way. Even if Lin Che didn't like Gu Xianda, he was still Gu Jingza's grandfather. Having a grudge with him would only make things difficult for Gu Jingza. She wasn't a fool and wouldn't do that. Gu Xianda said, "I know. You blame me for not standing on your side." Lin Che said, "Grandfather, we stand on different sides and think differently. I can't say that I blame you. I can only say that we're not fated." Ah, what a good not fated. He looked at Lin Che. "I called you here today because I missed you. I came to see you." "Thank you, grandfather, for thinking of me. Other than the fact that you're not suitable to be the mistress and not suitable to be with Jingza, I still like you a lot." Lin Che smiled. Gu Xinda said, "But you really can't be the mistress." Lin Che said, "When you don't like someone, you always think that everything about her is bad. Grandfather, even if you've been through a lot, you're still a human, not a god. I can understand your lack of confidence in me." "Aha, okay. Say whatever you want. But the Gu family is such a big place and there are so many people. You still don't know how complicated people's hearts are." Chapter 12:11. Lin Che looked at Gu Xianda. He felt that this old man had been fighting with his wits and courage all his life, and had fallen into a dead end. He suddenly felt a little pitiful. Everyone was afraid of him, but they never thought that he was actually an old man. To this day, those clan members still treated him as a highly respected elder. At the same time, this prestige did not make him any better. It made him seem like a tool that could bring them benefits. She smiled. "Grandfather, is it because people's hearts are too complicated, or is it because you think of people's hearts too complicated that they become complicated? I'm very simple and my thinking is also very simple. I just want to do my best to make everyone's lives happy. Every Gu family member that I help can be satisfied. That's enough. Otherwise, what else should I do?" Gu Xianda was stunned. Lin Che smiled. "I'm leaving, grandfather. Have a good rest." Lin Che lowered his head and walked out. He looked at the people outside and walked out calmly. Inside, Gu Xianda felt a little uncomfortable. He did not call for anyone. He just sat there in the empty room thinking about what she had just said. Did he think that people were too complicated? "Old master." Just then someone walked in. It was Xuemingqi. She looked at Gu Xianda. "Why is there no one outside, old master?" She had just heard that the old master had asked Lin Che to come over himself. Xuemingqi was naturally a little unhappy. She quickly wanted to come over and see what the old master was up to. Could it be that he had compromised because he was about to die? That would be a big deal for the other clan members. Gu Xinda said, "Oh, I asked them to leave first." If they hadn't left, Xuemingqi would not have come in so easily. Xuemingqi said, "Old master, was Lin Che here just now?" "Oh yes. Is there something wrong?" Gu Xianda turned around. "What? Do I have to report to you now that I want to see someone?" Xuemingqi paused. Gu Xianda's gaze was sharp. He was old and his eyes were a lot more muddled. However, his gaze still carried the dignity of an elder, and people who looked at him couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. When this old man was young, his hands were also stained with blood. Who knew how many people he had killed with his most advanced methods? Compared to him, Xuemingqi was still too inexperienced. Xuemingqi was naturally still afraid of him. Although he didn't even have the strength to truss a chicken right now, his imposing aura caused people to feel restraining fear. "That's not what I meant. Then get out of here." Xuemingqi didn't expect that she would make him unhappy when she came in just to inquire about something. No, it wasn't because he was unhappy. It was definitely because of what Lin Che had said before. Xuemingqi grew even more nervous. "What's wrong with you? Have you forgotten that you're on the same side as the clan members and us?" Gu Xinda laughed. "What do you mean?" "What I mean is, no matter what Lin Che said, I hope you can understand that we are on the same side." Gu Xinda said, "Mingqi, you're too impatient. This is also your weakness." "I'm anxious?" Xuemingqi looked at Gu Xinda and couldn't help but feel excited. If Gu Xianda were to stand on Lin Che's side, who else would stand on her side? Shui Mingqi said, our Shui clan is the clan member of the Gu clan, but we've been ostracized for so many years. In the entire Gu clan, if there's a woman who's more hardworking and ambitious than me, then I'm not Shui Mingqi. All these years she had been living a very repressed life. She was forced by her clan to develop herself, and the entire Shui clan's weight had been placed on her shoulders. But now she was just a step away from becoming the mistress of the clan, just because of her identity. She laughed coldly. These few months I've really been in deep trouble. Do you think I want to be the mistress of the clan? No, I don't want it at all, but everyone has handed the heavy responsibility to me. They want me to lead them out of their predicament, and not live under the pressure of Gu Jingze and Lin Che. They don't dare to trust Gu Jingze and Lin Che, so they can only entrust everything to me. I want this position because of everyone's expectations, but because I, Shui Mingqi, am not a Gu, I can't get everyone's approval. When Shui Mingqi thought of Lin Che, she felt full of mockery. And what about Lin Che? He only married Gu Jingze. He doesn't have to do anything, but he can have everything. What? Gu Xianda said, maybe he can get everything because he doesn't want to do anything. Shui Mingqi laughed. Yeah, so you're encouraging people not to work hard? Those who work hard will die, and those who don't work hard will get everything? Some people like to think like this, that others were not as hardworking as they were. Shui Mingqi was one of them. She snorted and said, Old master, are you sure you want to stand on Lin Che's side now? Gu Xianda looked at her. It's not her, but it's not you either. Shui Mingqi's heart was too heavy with gains and losses, and her heart was also too heavy with hatred. She was no longer suitable to be the mistress. Shui Mingqi's gaze sharpened. If it wasn't her, so, Gu Xianda really wouldn't stand on her side, right? Shui Mingqi looked at him and wanted to laugh even more. She walked over step by step. You've already thought about it, you selfish butcher. You've always thought about yourself and never thought about others. You can trample on other people's hard work and ignore other people's desires. You've even toyed with other people. Now you've toyed with the entire clan, haven't you? Gu Xianda said, hey, you're not qualified enough. You can't blame anyone else. I'm not qualified enough? If I'm not qualified enough, then who is it? Who is it? She walked over to him and pulled his shirt over his head. The old man looked at her. Shui Mingqi, what are you doing? I'm asking you who's qualified enough. Is it Lin Che? She swayed angrily. Let go of me. Answer me, answer me. You. Shui Mingqi felt him suddenly cough. Then he clutched his chest and gasped for breath in discomfort. His lips had turned purple in an instant. Shui Mingqi suddenly realized what she was doing. She was too impulsive. She wanted to run, but then realized that she should run now? But Gu Xianda was already like this. Even if she left, Gu Xianda wouldn't let her off. She turned around and saw that Gu Xianda seemed to want to take the medicine. She walked over with a cold smile. Where are your people, old master? Gu Xianda only panted, his face twisted as he took out the medicine. His arms were trembling and he couldn't take it out. Shui Mingqi chuckled. You sent them all out, right? Just because you wanted to see Lin Che and tell him some secret? It's so secretive and no one is allowed to hear it. Shui Mingqi said, you asked for it yourself. It's you? She forcefully hooked his wheelchair with her feet. The wheelchair fell to the ground. Cough, cough, cough. Gu Xianda fell to the ground and panted heavily. Chapter 12:12. She would never have imagined that she would kill Gu Xianda with her own hands one day. This old man who had been all-powerful for his entire life, had now fallen in front of him. No, she didn't kill him. But it was no different from killing him. She could only watch helplessly as he breathed his last breath and died motionlessly. Gu Xianda had been in charge of the Gu family for his entire life, but he had died in her hands. This made her feel a little vain. She thought to herself, no matter how powerful you are, you will still be killed by me. Haha, now that Gu Xianda could die in my hands, why would I be afraid of anyone else? However, she didn't lose her mind. She quickly erased all the places where she might have left her fingerprints. Although there were surveillance cameras outside, there definitely wouldn't be any inside. Otherwise, some of the family head's privacy would be exposed. Which family head would be willing to live in a place without privacy? Therefore, after she went out, she didn't have to worry about the surveillance cameras. Soon she ran out. When she was outside, she pretended to have just come in and said, I'm here to see old master. Where is he? They said, old master is still resting inside. With a smile on her lips, she walked in. The moment she entered, she screamed. Old master. Outside. Bad news, old master, old master. The butler ran in with tears in his eyes. What's wrong with old master? What's wrong with grandfather? What's wrong with father? Old master, he's dying. Everyone was shocked. In a moment they all gathered at the back. Gu Jingza and Gu Jingyu went in first. They saw old master lying on the ground. On the other side, the doctor was already examining old master's body. After a quick inspection, his face turned ashen. He raised his head and lamented, "The old master has already passed away." What? Did he really pass away this time? The doctor began to examine him inside. Outside, many of the clan members rushed over after hearing the news. The doctor came out and said, "It should be a heart attack." Someone in the clan shouted, "How could this happen? Where did you all go? Old master is not in good health. He has been alone for so long. Did no one go to take care of him?" The doctor was so scared that his face was sweating. Although the treatment was good, it was not easy to serve such a big family. His head felt like it was going to fall off at any moment. "We were supposed to check it in an hour, but it hasn't even been an hour." Zhong Qin asked again, "What about the servants in the house? Where are they?" "Sir, the old man told us to stay away because he wants to." "What do you want?" Zhong Qin felt the servant's eyes twinkle and quickly asked. The servant glanced at Gu Jingza. He then turned to look at Lin Che. "Because the old man wants to see madam." Gu Jingza turned around. Lin Che also understood that he was in trouble. She lifted her head and looked at the person in front of her. Seeing that everyone was looking at him at once, Yizichen smiled. Lin Che said, "Yes, I just met old master." The relatives behind him immediately stood up. "What do you mean by meeting the old master? You should be the last person to meet the old master." "That's right. Tell me, what did you say to the old man to cause him to have a heart attack? Didn't you call for help when you saw the old man having a heart attack?" "Ha, is it because you want to kill the old man so you don't care about him?" "Yes, it must be." The old man looked down on her and didn't let her be the lady of the house. "She's holding a grudge against him." Lin Che sneered. These people were interesting. What? Were they collectively pinning the blame for old Master Shin's death on her? Lin Che said, "I did meet the old man just now, but we had a pleasant conversation. We didn't quarrel and it was very peaceful. When I left, the old man was still fine." "There's no proof." "Yes, whatever you say. Even a murderer wouldn't have the word murderer written on his head." "That's enough," Gu Jingza suddenly said. His deep voice with a murderous aura made everyone stop. They were still afraid of Gu Jingza. Gu Jingza said, "Aren't you slandering my wife without proof?" Everyone looked at each other. No one had proof. Xue Mingqi came out from behind and said, "She was the last person to meet the old man. Can't she tell us what happened?" Hearing Xue Mingqi's words, the clan members remembered again. "That's right. Jingza, it's wrong of you to do this. He's your grandfather. How can you side with your wife like this?" "That's right. You're not filial. Can't we just ask? Can't the old man give us an explanation?" Gu Jingza said, "Are you asking or slandering him?" "Ah, the old man has done so much for the Gu family. Now that he's passed away without any reason, of course we have to ask him. Moreover, Lin Che was the last person to enter the house. How can we believe you if you don't tell us what you said? Is it because the old man still doesn't let you be the lady of the house, so you don't dare to tell us?" Lin Che looked at them. They had made up their minds to blame her. "Give us an explanation. We can't let the old man die just like that. Why don't we let the police handle it? Let them investigate and see if there's anything left at the scene. Maybe Lin Che's fingerprints will be on the old man's medicine bottle." Gu Jingza narrowed his eyes. Grandfather's death has nothing to do with Lin Che. There's no need to investigate. Impossible. We have to give the old man an explanation. The few of them stared at Lin Che like tigers watching their prey. They wanted her to give them an answer. "Lin Che, don't you want to take responsibility for killing someone? Lin Che, you're hiding behind the old man. Are you afraid of being investigated? Hand over Lin Che, Jingza. Otherwise, the old man won't be able to rest in peace." Everyone attacked her as if they were going to force her to abdicate. Suddenly, Gu Jingza picked up his gun and pointed it at the ceiling. Bang! The room suddenly fell silent. Everyone looked at Gu Jingza, whose eyes were bloodshot with murderous intent. They suddenly didn't dare to provoke him. "Jingza, you're going to disappoint all of us by protecting her like this." Gu Jingza snorted. "If I let Lin Che be investigated and slandered by you, then it'll be too meaningless for me to be the old man. You're the old man first. then you're her husband. No, the most important position in a man's life is his family, and the core of a family is his wife. No, to govern the country, to bring peace to the world, to stand in the most important position in a man's life. You. Chapter 12:13. Gu Jingzi said directly, "So, today none of you can touch a single hair on Lin Che." "How dare they? That's right. This is outrageous. Lin Che is a scourge." Gu Jingzi snorted. "How is she not a scourge? I see that you want to force her to commit such a crime. If we let you take her away and interrogate her, isn't she a scourge?" It was common for the Gu family to interrogate people in private. Moreover, some of the interrogations were much more vicious. Those who were interrogated might lose half their lives after they left. How could Gu Jingzi allow them to take Lin Che away for investigation and interrogation? Based on how much they hated Lin Che, it was very likely that they would torture him to confess. So, even if he had to fight with them, he would not let them take Lin Che away. "No, we can't let you take Lin Che away like this." The relatives disagreed and shouted. At this moment, Gu Jingyu, who had been acting frivolously just now, stopped acting. He stood at the back and listened attentively. Hearing what everyone said, he said, "I think that since we don't have any evidence, let's not use numbers to oppress others. I'm on Lin Che's side. You can't think that Lin Che is a murderer just because she saw her grandfather for the last time, right? Let's not talk about anything else. Grandfather had a heart attack, not a murder." Seeing that Gu Jingyu was on Lin Che's side, everyone looked at Lin Che angrily. This woman was really a scourge. The two Gu brothers had been deceived by her. A relative said, Fine. If you don't let us interrogate her, then you are unfilial. Filial piety is the most important thing for us. How could you disregard your grandfather's life just to protect a woman? We don't want a family head like you." "That's right. Either hand over Lin Che or hand over the position of the family head." Gu Jingzi narrowed his eyes. "Lin Che, let's go." He grabbed Lin Che fiercely with one hand and looked outside. "I want to see who dares to block my way when I become the family head. The Gu family will listen to my orders. Whoever dares to come near will be punished according to the family rules." The group of security guards outside would definitely listen to the family head's orders first. You. Seeing that Gu Jingzi was so tough, the others didn't give up on Lin Che. They directly pulled Lin Che through the excited crowd and walked out. Gu Jingyu also followed them out. When he was outside, he turned his head and said, "You say that we are unfilial, but why don't you take a look at yourself first? When did my grandfather's life and death become your business?" Everyone was stunned. Logically speaking, they were all collateral relatives. Indeed, their grandfather had died and they were the ones making the decisions. However, they were not convinced. They were definitely going to use this opportunity to find something to do. Otherwise, if the only person who supported them passed away just like that, what would they do in the future? "Are you trying to drive us out of the Gu family?" Gu Jingyu's relatives looked at Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu said, "Hey, you can leave the Gu family if you want to. Who can stop you?" Some people were so angry that they were about to vomit blood. Outside, because Enlan wasn't a member of the Gu family, he couldn't follow them in just now. At this moment, it seemed that the commotion outside had gotten out of hand. He looked through the window to see what was going on. He saw many people shouting in the courtyard. Outside, the Gu family's powerful security surrounded them. It seemed that the situation was urgent. Mu Wanqing came in and saw that Enlan was still there. She quickly said, "Child, I'm sorry about today. Something happened at home and I can't receive you again." Enlan quickly said, No, I know. My condolences. I should have left, but I had to wait here for you to say goodbye." Okay. Child, you can leave first. I can't take care of you today." Enlan vaguely understood that Gu Jingzi had protected Lin Che and left. It seemed that it had something to do with Lin Che. Gu Jingzi mobilized all the security guards to ensure that the two of them could leave. Then he ordered people to keep an eye on the clan members who were causing trouble inside and didn't allow anyone to leave. After sending Lin Che back, he came back to deal with the matter. On one hand, he blocked all the news from the media, and on the other, he prepared to handle the funeral. It could be said that he had used a thunderous method to quickly control the entire Gu family. This kind of man was really so charming. It was a pity that he was already married. However, Enlan realized that Gu Jingyu's behavior was also very unusual. He was like a completely different person from the hedonistic young master just now. Lin Che, who had protected him for a while, then unceremoniously suppressed others. From afar, his expression was serious and his expression was touching. Then what was going on just now? Was Gu Jingyu so serious to protect Lin Che? Why were they so protective of Lin Che? Who exactly was Lin Che? Lin Che quickly went back first. Gu Jingyu was worried that something would happen to her, so he rushed over. Lin Che stood at the window and looked outside. Gu Jingyu hesitated for a moment and walked over. Alright, don't worry. Second brother won't let anything happen to you. Lin Che said, I know that he won't let anything happen to me, but I'm worried that he will let something happen to himself. Gu Jingyu chuckled. That won't happen. Nothing has happened to those who can hurt him. That's true, but I can see that the clansmen are very unstable. They are very agitated. Gu Jingyu said, that's right. After all, Grandpa used to be their spiritual pillar. Because of Grandpa leading the opposition against second brother, they felt that there was still hope. Now that Grandpa suddenly passed away, of course they are very worried. They are worried that second brother will become the head of the family and no one can control him. Lin Che said, doesn't that mean that they might really hurt Gu Jingza? But second brother won't be hurt for no reason. Lin Che pinched his chin and thought about what had happened just now. Are the results of Grandpa's examination out? Yes, it's a heart attack. There's nothing else, right? Yes. Could it really be an accident? But it's too much of a coincidence. I also hope that it's an accident, but anything can happen in the Gu family, he said. I will ask someone to check it out. Lin Che said, there's no need. You don't have to worry too much about me. I'm thinking why I was the last person to see Grandpa. I don't seem to have said anything special to him. Why did Grandpa have a heart attack? Moreover, I can see that the medicine was beside him just now. Why didn't Grandpa take it? Yes. Although Grandpa's body isn't good, he still has the ability to move. Could it be that his heart attack suddenly made him unable to take the medicine? Is it certain that he won't have a heart attack if he takes the medicine? Nothing is absolute, Gu Jingyu said. Gu Jingyu said, but that medicine is much better than the nitroglycerin that makes people upset. It was developed by second brother's research lab. It's purer and can slow down most heart attacks. At least it won't kill people in a short period of time. Chapter 12-14. Yeah, Lin Che said, that's why I still find it strange, especially since it was Xuemingqi who discovered it first. You're right, but we still have to wait for the results of the other tests. Rest first and don't think too much. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingyu. Thank you. You're welcome. Lin Che was very satisfied that he was on Lin Che's side. Although her clan members opposed her because of their interests, many of her friends were still on her side. This was enough to satisfy her. Gu Xinda passed away and the funeral had to be arranged carefully. Gu Jingza busied himself for a few days. Everyone in the family helped out and finally the funeral was basically settled. Gu Jingza left early and returned late. He basically had no time to rest. At night, Lin Che waited until the wee hours before Gu Jingza returned. Lin Che quickly walked over and handed him a pair of shoes for him to put on. He lowered his head and pulled her up. Don't bother. She said, lean on me for a while. I'll help you soak your feet. She thought about how busy he was. If it were her, her feet would definitely be swollen. It would be better to soak them in some medicine. Gu Jingza said, there's no need to trouble yourself. Lin Che looked up. Isn't a wife supposed to serve her husband? Although in their family, it was always the husband who served his wife, Gu Jingza also realized that she only knew how to talk. Of course, he was actually very happy taking care of her. He said, okay. My wife has grown up. Of course. Lin Che ran to get some water. When he came back, he put some medicine in the foot wash. It was yellow and emitted a medicinal fragrance. He put his feet down and Lin Che slowly massaged the soles of his feet. Is it comfortable? Yeah. He looked at her. He, who was not used to being touched by others, had never been pressed like this before. It was a little itchy, but it was still very comfortable. Because when her delicate hands pressed on it, she didn't use much strength. This bit of strength was definitely not enough for him, but it was her that made him feel comfortable. She smiled and asked him, is everything arranged now? Yeah. He'll be buried in a family cemetery. You've been there before. There's a piece of land there for grandfather's rest. Everything has been prepared and some relatives are coming from all over. The funeral must be huge. I don't plan to let outsiders attend the funeral in case it causes too much of a commotion. Otherwise, if people were allowed to participate, there would definitely be innumerable people. Gu Xinda was after all famous. There were people who admired him, people who wanted to pay their respects, people who wanted to join in the fun, and people who wanted to take the opportunity to get close to him. At that time, a shock in Country C would attract a lot of attention. The Gu family had always kept a low profile, so they definitely wouldn't like this kind of attention. Lin Che said, "Then I'll have to work hard for a while." Yes. Lin Che's heart ached. He watched over him, letting him lean on him for a while longer and soak in the water for a while longer. But there was nothing else she could do to help him. It was not good for her to interfere with the Gu family's affairs, so she could only deal with the matters around her first. There was no need for him to worry about the affairs of the family. She only hoped that she could help him a little bit. Gu Jingze leaned against the wall and fell asleep after a while. She looked at him. Although he always looked energetic and she could never tell that he was tired, when she looked at him like this, she could tell that he really hadn't slept well for a few days. She leaned against the wall and couldn't bear to wake him up for a while. She could only take a towel and help him wipe his hands and cheeks. Usually if someone else touched him he would have jumped up. It could be seen that he trusted her from the bottom of his heart. So, at this moment when he knew it was her, he didn't move at all no matter what she did. She only hoped that he could have a good rest in the next few days. She sat there thinking about the funeral and hoping that nothing would happen. The people who attended the funeral were all relatives of the Gu family, as well as those who were close friends of the Gu family. No outsiders were allowed to come. After a few days of adjustment, the relatives finally didn't look so sad anymore. But at this time, they still pretended to cry a little with a few drops of tears as if they were very sad. In contrast, Gu Xinda's real relatives were very calm here. After a while, Gu Jingming arrived with Yu Minmin. The presidential guards who followed him separated the two people. When Gu Jingming walked in, the relatives stood up to welcome him. Then Gu Jingyu also arrived and walked in with Mu Wanqing. Mu Wanqing was very sad. Although she knew that this day would come, she was still an old woman who had lived in the same courtyard for decades. Thinking about it, she still sighed. After that, Gu Jingze arrived. As he walked in with Lin Che, the clan members glared at Lin Che, their faces filled with hatred. "How dare you come? Murderer! How dare you come?" She was wearing a long black dress with a little white flower on her chest. She followed beside Gu Jingze, and both of them looked serious. They were just talking about it. Naturally, they didn't dare to do anything to her. Especially when the people from the Lu family came. Gu Jingyan came with Lu Beichen and Lu Qinyu came as well. Looking at Lin Che, the three of them came to Lin Che's side first. Looking at the three of them, the relatives shut their mouths. They knew that they wouldn't get anything good if they said bad things about Lin Che here. Today the Gu family was a black and white canvas. After the group sat down, everyone waited silently for the funeral to begin. Although it was solemn, it wasn't that sad. After all, it was a funeral of a big family. It wouldn't be like an ordinary funeral where people would cry for their parents. Although they were angry and sad, this place still looked solemn and dignified. The other sadness was also suppressed in a spectacular scene. When they arrived, before the official funeral began, everyone took a short break and ate something first. Lin Che and Yu Minmin sat at the back. Then they heard someone ask, "When will it start?" "About an hour more. Not everyone is here yet. Some of them just arrived from abroad." "Ah, then let's play a game for a while." "What are you playing?" "It's Radiance. It's on my phone. Try it too." Lin Che turned around and saw that the people behind were playing Radiance. On the side, Xuemingqi was also watching. She said, "They're all playing this game." Yes, it's quite interesting." "Is it to kill time?" Xuemingqi said. "It's so popular. Let's see if our family can cooperate next time." They still didn't know that the founder of Radiance was in front of them. Lin Che snorted in his heart. Xuemingqi wanted to cooperate? Forget it. She wouldn't agree even if you beat her to death. Chapter 12:15. Moreover, after hearing Xuemingqi's words, she immediately thought of telling Li Mingyu to let her know if Xuemingqi went to look for a collaboration. They didn't know that the boss of the game they were playing was right in front of them. After playing for a while, they looked at Lin Che and whispered to each other. "There are a few people here to cheer for her today." "What do you mean cheering for her?" "Those people from the Gu family are all her people, including Lu Beichen and Old Master Lu. Otherwise, why would she dare to come? I've never seen such a shameless person." "You only say that she is shameless. Go and say it." "Why don't you go and say it?" "Ah, let's do it together." "Forget it. I don't like to cause trouble." She said that she didn't like to cause trouble, but she knew that she couldn't afford to. These words were just words, but no one dared to actually put it into practice. Lin Che had heard it long ago. They thought that they were speaking in a low voice, but no one was deaf. Yu Minmin wanted to stand up. Lin Che pulled Yu Minmin back. Forget it. Let them scold her. They only know how to talk behind his back. If they have the ability, come out and have a good discussion. It's the funeral today. Let's do Grandpa some face. They are jealous but they can't afford to offend you, so they talk behind your back. They are afraid that you will take revenge on them. They can't afford it. After all, they couldn't afford to offend the people who protected Lin Che. The funeral began outside. Someone came to ask them to go out. Lin Che walked out with Yu Minmin. When they went out, Xue Mingqi and a few people followed behind them. Xue Mingqi looked ahead and saw the opportunity. She took a step forward. Suddenly, the person in front of her bumped into Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin turned around. The person who was tripped was still wondering why he had been moved. But when she turned around, they all had the same expression. She couldn't tell who did it. However, Yu Minmin had already narrowed her eyes and said, "Some people are blind with their mouth, right? Hey, what are you talking about? I just bumped into you by accident." Yu Minmin said, "It's an accident that you bumped into me, but was it also an accident that you lied through your teeth just now?" Knowing that they had all heard it, a little ugly flashed across their faces, but they still puffed out their chests. "I know you are the president's wife, and we are insignificant people. We can't afford to offend you, but now we are in the territory of the Gu family. As relatives of the Gu family, can't we say a word or two?" Yu Minmin said, "Are you complaining? Oh, you're really shameless." "You." The woman was angry. "Who are you scolding?" Yu Minmin crossed her arms in front of her chest. "Ha, you just said that we are shameless. Isn't that just grumbling? I'm in the Gu family and I can't even grumble?" "You." The woman's face immediately darkened. He didn't know how to reply to her. At this moment, Xue Mingqi said from behind, "Lin Che, we weren't talking about anyone just now." Now that she mentioned it, everyone remembered. The woman became confident again. "That's right. We didn't mention anyone's name, but someone insisted on blaming someone else." Yu Minmin harumphed and stepped forward to slap the woman in front of her. "You." She was stunned. She hadn't expected Yu Minmin to hit someone. Yu Minmin said, "I'm sorry, I didn't say I was going to hit you. You were the one who insisted on hitting me. Maybe you're too thick-skinned and wanted to be taught a lesson. You hit me. How dare you say that about me after hitting me?" She was so angry that her face was swollen. She looked like she was about to rush over. Just then, "This is a funeral. What are you guys doing?" Gu Jingze came up from behind. The few of them looked at Gu Jingze and quickly restrained themselves. However, the woman who had just been hit stood up indignantly. "Yeah, it's a funeral. How dare she hit someone?" Gu Jingze looked at Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin said, "I didn't hit anyone. I was just swatting away a mosquito. Maybe I accidentally hit someone." "Were you calling a mosquito?" Gu Jingze looked at Yu Minmin and said, "Oh, then let's disperse." "What? You want us to disperse just like that?" "Then the slap I took just now," Gu Jingze said calmly, "I didn't see anything and she said she was swatting away a mosquito. What can I do?" It was so obvious that she was biased. However, Gu Jingze's face was so calm that he was siding with them. "As the head of the family, how can you be so unfair?" "How can I be fair?" Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and said, "What do you think I should do? I've already said that I didn't see it with my own eyes and there are no outsiders here to testify. You guys are the only ones who have no evidence. Firstly, Yu Minmin is my sister-in-law. Even if I'm the head of the family, I have to respect my sister-in-law. How can I not listen to what she says? Isn't that unfilial? Being unfilial is the biggest taboo in the Gu family." She was at a loss for words. Before she could say anything else, Xue Mingqi quickly pulled her back and said, all right. The head of the family is right. We really don't have any evidence. Today is the funeral. Let's not cause trouble." They also looked at Gu Jingze and Lin Che with hatred. Mumbling they could only leave. Sometimes status was just like that. Just because you were slightly weaker, you would not be able to be on the same level as the other party. If they were not on the same level, then they would not be on the same level. If he was the family head, then they could only stand aside. Watching Lin Che and Yu Minmin leave, they were a little unconvinced. But they were very grateful to Xue Mingqi. "Didn't you say that Mingqi would speak up for us? Otherwise we wouldn't know what to do." "It's okay. We're all family," Xue Mingqi said with a smile. She looked at Lin Che who was outside. Their relationship with the family had become even more strained after Gu Xinda's death. It had basically reached a critical point. Xue Mingqi harumphed. She looked at the game in her hands and said, "This game looks pretty good. Yeah, it's very popular. Shui Mingqi said, "My family is also planning to invest in this business. Then this will definitely be profitable. I heard that it has the most players right now. Which company made it?" "It seems to say that it's a studio called Genesis." Shui Mingqi looked at it. She wanted to go back and study it properly. Outside, the funeral had officially begun. After a complicated ceremony, everyone drove to the cemetery to be buried. Along the way there was a row of black luxury cars. Because it was a funeral, everyone consciously drove their family's black cars to the cemetery without any discussion. The passers-by looked at the row of black cars. Not a single one of them was worth 10 million. As they drove through the streets they looked mighty. Chapter 12:16. Everyone was curious as well. She was wearing a white flower, so she was probably going to the funeral. But they didn't know whose funeral was so grand. The funeral didn't take long. Lin Che looked at the place where she was buried. It was beautiful. When she was alive, she hadn't enjoyed a single day of peace. Maybe it was peaceful here after she passed away. But who would want to die if they could live? She looked at the tombstone and said, "Grandpa, I know your heart disease has nothing to do with me. Something must have caused it, but what was it?" After the funeral the group returned. Lin Che said, "You were so biased just now. Aren't you afraid of making the clan even more unhappy?" Gu Jingzi said, "It doesn't matter." Lin Che followed beside him. "How can it not matter?" Gu Jingzi said, "Because grandfather passed away, the relationship between the clan and the Gu family has already collapsed. They don't care about this little conflict." "Really?" Lin Che asked, surprised. "Of course. In the past, grandfather was the bridge between the clan and the main family. Now that the bridge has been broken, the main family is fine, but the clan feels that they have lost their support and will definitely hold a grudge. This is for sure. Then what should we do now? The previous head of the family has passed away. The current head of the family naturally has to let the dust settle and let everyone trust the new head of the family again. But this kind of trust can only be built after the chaos. It's impossible for them to trust the new head of the family themselves." "You're saying, violence is unavoidable?" "That's right." Lin Che wasn't as stupid as he was in the past. He didn't think about anything, so he understood what he meant. Naturally, she still had some worries in her heart. However, since this was the only way, she could only resign herself to fate. After Shui Mingqi returned, she started to investigate. What was that so-called Genesis like? It turned out to be a small studio affiliated with Kaixin Corporation. Shui Mingqi immediately got someone to contact the studio. She knew that these people were still students. Besides being busy with games, they were in school. Shui Mingqi went straight to the school to look for them. KG and Crooked Neck were outside the dormitory after class when they heard someone say, "Crooked Neck, a beautiful rich lady is looking for you." The few of them were a little puzzled. Recently, many people had come to their door. After they became popular, many people would come to discuss business. However, they really didn't have time to care about it. It was just the start of the open beta, and there were still some problems that needed to be fixed. They had to keep updating and leveling up in order to keep the game going. They couldn't wait to be used as two people, so they didn't have time to care about others. The other people in the school had long been envious of them. Although most people did not know that they were Genesis, they only knew that they had recently found a job and were very busy working with a big company. This was because the people who came to Genesis were all rich and powerful people. Today this woman drove a Maserati and came in. What's more, it was a well-dressed woman. Although he didn't look young anymore, his skin was indeed well maintained. When King came out and saw her, Shui Mingqi immediately looked at them. Looking at their young faces, she felt even more confident. She smiled. "So it's you guys. I've heard so much about you. I want to have a chat with you." He tilted his head and said, "What are you talking about?" Shui Mingqi said, "I know that you guys are making a game. I'm very interested in this game and I want to talk about cooperation." "Cooperation?" Tilted Neck looked at KG. KG shook his head immediately. Tilted Neck immediately said, "Sorry, we don't want to cooperate." Shui Mingqi wasn't surprised. It was impossible for him to agree so soon. She said, "I'll invest 300 million in hopes that I can continue to help you run this game. If you sell the game to me, the 300 million will belong to you guys." 300 million? Did it belong to them? That sounded very tempting. Where did this woman come from? She actually wanted to invest 300 million in one go. Previously, when a tycoon like Li Mingyu offered 200 million to make a game for them, it was already shocking. Now this woman said, 300 million to buy this game? They were just students who had just entered society. None of them had seen so much money before. They had never even seen a few million, let alone that much money. Dealing with these tycoons in such a short time was really an eye-opener for them. Didn't they usually treat this money as money? Tilted Neck and the rest were a little dumbfounded. However, at this moment, KG still stood up and said, "What do you think about our game that's worth 300 million? When Xuemingqi saw this, she was indeed interested. Hence, she said calmly, "Because I think it's worth an investment. If there are many players, it means that everyone likes it. After all, you're just a studio and there's no point in being affiliated with a big company. The game won't be easy to maintain. Can you guarantee that it will remain this popular for the rest of its life? Once this popularity dies, you guys won't have this value anymore. But how much is 300 million? You can take a look." KG harumphed and said, "Sorry, it's not for sale." "What?" Xuemingqi thought she had heard wrongly. "What did you just say?" KG said, "It's different from our concept of making games." With that, he left without further explanation. Was Xuemingqi suddenly given the cold shoulder by a university student? She took out a business card. After all, she was from a wealthy family. She was very patient and definitely had the upbringing in this area. After being rejected, she did not fly into a rage. Instead, she calmly handed over the business card. "If you're interested, you can contact me again. My name is Xuemingqi. My family's assets are listed on it. You can take a look and consider the value of our partnership." KG glanced at it and took it. After leaving, Tilted Neck immediately did a search on Baidu. "Damn, this is a subsidiary of the Gu Corporation." He said, "I took a look. The Xue family seems to be a subsidiary of the Gu Corporation. No wonder they're so rich." KG said, "Oh." Tilted Neck said, "KG, why did you reject her so quickly? What's wrong with what she said?" KG said, "She only saw that there were many players in the game and concluded that she had the ability to maintain it. She didn't understand our game at all. How could we maintain it? Only by adhering to the original concept of the game can we maintain it. If we hand it over to her, the game will be useless." "I see. Sigh, 300 million just went down the drain. Moreover, we're splitting the profits with Triumph Prosperity. Have you forgotten that we created the game together? You want to sell it?" "Oh yeah. Although I was just thinking about it, the truth is that we can't sell it." Chapter 12:17. Crooked Neck added, "Plus, this game is our child. We can't just leave it, right?" Xuemingqi didn't expect them to reject her outright. Xuemingqi snorted. "Do you think you'll encounter such a good opportunity again in the future?" She just wanted to save trouble, so she wanted to buy a similar game. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to develop it herself without the skills and talent. Xuemingqi went back and started talking to people. "We're going to start making a game now. Our main competitor is Radiance from Genesis." The people in the company were surprised. "Are we going to challenge Radiance directly?" "That's right. I think it's better to wait for another 2 years. If we challenge them now, Radiance will still be popular. I'm afraid no one will be able to challenge their position for the time being. If we release another game in a year or two, Radiance will have reached its peak. There won't be any new updates or new ideas. Basically, we'll be able to surpass Radiance once the market is saturated." Xuemingqi said, "By then I can make a game and earn money. What's the point of surpassing Radiance? What I want is this moment." Xuemingqi urgently needed a successful project to support the Xue family's position. Now that the gaming industry was so popular, if she succeeded, she would definitely be able to make a name for herself. It would be different from other real estate industries that earn money quietly. Hence, she wanted to do it now. Seeing how insistent Xuemingqi was, everyone said, "We'll try our best." Xuemingqi said, "What I want is success by hook or by crook." She meant that even if they had to use unfair means, they had to defeat Radiance? If that was the case, they could do a lot of things with more means. Xuemingqi said, "Go and try to pry open Radiance's studio. They're still university students, so it should be easy to pry open them. If there's any loosening up, it'll be easier from the inside." Yes. The few of them understood that this meant that they had to make a move on all aspects to get the light down no matter what. When Lin Che returned to the set, Gu Jingyu came back with him. Everyone was still guessing why the two of them came back together. Look at Lin Che and Gu Jingyu. They applied for leave together and came back together. Haven't they been rumored for a long time? But didn't they deny it themselves? A lot of people deny it on the surface. They deny it for a few years and after enough hype they tell the public that they are together. That's true. They've known each other for so many years and have worked together on quite a few shows. Now that Lin Che's status has risen, the two of them are quite compatible. Su-won listened on the side, feeling a bit surprised. Lin Che and Gu Jingyu? Okay, maybe that's true. When they stood together, they were indeed a good match. One was a movie queen while the other was a national treasure. When the two of them stood together, they were different from others. They looked especially relaxed and familiar. Su-won couldn't help but think of that night. If the two of them were really together, then she really felt a little sorry for Lin Che. Actually, she didn't do it on purpose. She felt a little guilty. When she looked at Gu Jingyu, she hid far away to avoid embarrassment. Gu Jingyu was still reading the script when he saw a figure walk past him with his tail between his legs. Gu Jingyu paused for a moment, then raised his head. Su-won. Su-won looked up and saw him. She quickly ran away in fright. This woman. The crew saw Su-won jump over. What are you running for? You're running so fast. Do you want to die? Su-won hurriedly said, Sorry. I didn't pay attention. Who was that just now? Gu Jingyu? As they spoke, Gu Jingyu had already chased after Su-won. However, as soon as these people saw Gu Jingyu, they had already rushed over enthusiastically. Jingyu, do you need anything? Oh, I'm looking for. He saw Su-won who was about to run and said sternly, I want to find someone to help me do something. Oh, what is it? Just you guys. Also, the one behind. He stopped Su-won. Su-won's footsteps quickly stopped. What are they doing? The others hurriedly pulled Su-won over. It was rare for Gu Jingyu to find someone to help. Come Su-won. Aren't you fine? Jingyu is looking for someone to help. Su-won cursed in her heart. She really couldn't hide even if she wanted to. She could only brace herself and turn back. Gu Jingyu looked at them. In a few days I'm going to bring someone to attend a ball, but I'm a bit confused about what clothes my female companion should wear. How about this, help me try on the clothes? Ah, of course. The few people thought enviously. Gu Jingyu needs to bring a female companion to a ball. They heard that Gu Jingyu never brought anyone out. He never brought a female companion. They were so envious of the female companions that he could bring. However, even if they couldn't be a female companion, they could still help him try on the clothes. It could be considered satisfying. They immediately happily agreed. Gu Jingyu pointed outside. Let's go. After getting in Gu Jingyu's car, the four of them squeezed into one car. Fortunately, it was a relatively spacious SUV. The person on the side said, This car costs more than 10 million. Really? Why is it so expensive? Look, this is the top quality logo. These leather and seats are all made by big brands. They are all made by those famous luxury brands. That's why it's so expensive. I need to sit more. Su-won also sat on it but didn't say a word. She just wanted to pretend that she didn't exist. Otherwise, when she saw Gu Jingyu, she couldn't help but think of that day, behind. Soon they arrived at a shop. There weren't many clothes inside. They were high-end custom-made and each one was full of design. Seeing Gu Jingyu come in and actually bring a few girls with him, the shop assistants were very surprised. Gu Jingyu's personal clothes were made here, so they weren't surprised to see Gu Jingyu come. However, Gu Jingyu really had never brought so many girls with him. But why did he bring so many at once? Gu Jingyu directly ordered, I want them to help me try on the clothes and choose the clothes for my female companion. Ah, okay. Strange. He had a female companion. Why didn't he bring her to try on the clothes? However, rich people had a lot of hobbies. Maybe his female companion's identity was special and she didn't want to show her face. So they didn't ask much. The girls were extremely excited. This place looked high-end from afar. They had just entered the entertainment industry and had never been to such a good place. Chapter 12:18. Looking at these clothes, he exclaimed in his heart. As expected, expensive clothes were different. Just by looking at them, it had a nice texture. Gu Jingyu ordered and the shop assistants immediately brought the hottest clothes of this season over. The girls immediately began to divide the spoils fervently. He threw the last piece of clothing to Su-won. It looked like a short skirt that wasn't easy to wear. Because it was pinched at the waist, there wasn't a bit of fat on the waist. They weren't that confident in themselves, so they didn't dare to try it, in case they looked ugly in front of Gu Jingyu. One by one the clothes came out. They were all actors and hadn't been models before. Right now they looked like models walking in front of Gu Jingyu, but they looked a bit comical. Gu Jingyu wanted to laugh in his heart. The beauties didn't know and just felt that they were professional. They were all actors, so they could play the role of a few models. However, models were very professional after all. If they didn't look good, it would seem like they were imitating others. At this time, behind them, Suwon came over. She looked very petite, especially when she wore this dress. She looked like a high school student. She didn't come to the fashion show. She just stood there looking outside in a daze. Plus her immature expression, she looked very small. Everyone didn't pay attention at first, but seeing Gu Jingyu look over, he narrowed his eyes and also looked over. When he saw Suwon, he immediately regretted it. If they knew, they would have chosen this. High-grade clothes were amazing. They didn't look like much, but after wearing it, they realized that every line was so vivid. It covered up the shortcomings of the model and revealed all the advantages. The effect was really good. These amazing clothes were really amazing. The more inconspicuous they looked, the more amazing they were. Gu Jingyu stared, and after a while he got off the chair. "I'll take all of these clothes," he said. The shop assistant's eyes sparkled with joy. "Okay, I'll wrap them up for you right away." "No need. Give them to them. Take the ones that you're wearing. As for you," he held out his hand to Suwon. Suwon felt her heart skip a beat. Then Gu Jingyu said, "You stay." They froze. Naturally, when he looked at Suwon, he understood that he liked her clothes. When they heard that the clothes were given to them, they were pleasantly surprised. "I was so happy that I almost jumped up. How much would that cost?" However, when he said that he wanted Suwon to stay, they all looked at Suwon with jealousy. Those who didn't get chosen had given her such an expensive gift. She wondered what kind of gift those who got chosen would give her. However, since Gu Jingyu said so, they had no choice but to thank Gu Jingyu. They comforted themselves that it was already good enough for them to take such expensive clothes. Then they walked out. Suwon could only watch enviously as they left. He looked at Gu Jingyu, who was in front of him. If she had known that he liked this type, she wouldn't have chosen this one. However, it seemed like she had no choice. Seeing that everyone had left, Suwon said, I'll change my clothes first." "No, just wear it," he said. "Ah." Suwon hurriedly said, "There's only one piece of clothing in this store. You better take this one off quickly. If I get it dirty, your female companion won't be able to wear it." In the next moment, Gu Jingyu pulled Suwon, who was about to take off her clothes. Suwon turned around in astonishment. Gu Jingyu said, "No need to change. This one is for you." "Ah, then your female companion? You can be my female companion too." Gu Jingyu pulled her, and in an instant, his handsome face was close to her face. Looking at this face that could make many girls go crazy, Suwon's face suddenly turned red. Especially when she thought of how she once hugged him, begged him, to save her. Gu Jingyu pressed his cheek against hers. "Be my woman." Suwon fluttered her eyelashes, her widened eyes sparkling like dewdrops under the morning light. What are you talking about?" Gu Jingyu looked at her. "Didn't I say that I want you to be my woman?" "Be your woman? What do you mean? What do you think?" He moved a bit closer and looked at her. Suwon smelled his domineering scent. "No, move away. I think I like your scent, so I'm prepared to let you be my woman. You can live at my place and I'll pay for your food and clothing. Plus, I promise you won't regret it." So it was like this? Was Gu Jingyu trying to sleep with her? Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu. He could sleep with so many women. Why did he choose her? Plus, didn't he have something with Lin Che? But don't you have another woman you like? Why are you doing this? Gu Jingyu frowned and looked at her but didn't explain anything. "What does this have to do with you being my woman?" Suwon knew that rich people had a lot of women. But Lin Che was such a good person. Of course not. She pushed Gu Jingyu away. "This isn't right. Are you saying that you want me to be your mistress? Are you saying, keep me as your mistress? I don't agree." After Suwon finished speaking, she turned around and walked out. The shop assistant didn't dare to stop her. She didn't say that she hadn't changed her clothes yet either. Gu Jingyu watched as she left and shook his head faintly. "Mistress?" But speaking of which, that seemed to be the case. He slipped his hands into his pockets and said to the shop assistant, "Swipe my card." When Suwon got into the car, she remembered that the clothes she was wearing were Gu Jingyu's. But it was too late for her to go back now. She could only take the car back to the dormitory. She wanted to change and then send him back. Unfortunately, the clothes she changed out of were still in the shop. She only wore it a few times. What a pity. She returned to the dormitory. Everyone looked at her. "Wow, Suwon, you're rich. These clothes are really expensive." Suwon was astonished. She looked down at her clothes, but it didn't seem like much. "This is a new style that came out 2 days ago. Their clothes are all unique." Yeah. I even walked past their display window and saw it. This looks very ordinary, but it said that it's the most meaningful clothes for shaping the human body. Suwon said, "This, how much is it?" "It seems to be more than 100,000. Suwon felt that she should hurry and send the clothes back. She quickly took them off and smoothed her clothes. She wanted to find Gu Jingyu's number but remembered that it was impossible for her to have his number. And not many people in the crew would have it. Chapter 12:19. The people in the dormitory felt strange. They didn't know why Suwon suddenly had this dress. Could it be that someone had infiltrated her in the industry? Though they despised her, they were also thinking that maybe she was going to become famous. Someone had already infiltrated her. She wouldn't be the first one to become famous out of the four in the dormitory, right? After Gu Jingyu became more and more engrossed in filming, he basically returned to his previous state. Lin Che and he had a good understanding of each other. The two of them could basically finish filming in one take. Occasionally there would be a problem but they would just discuss it and it would be over. Lin Che also sincerely felt that he could learn a lot from filming with a professional actor like Gu Jingyu. Plus, filming was really comfortable. The drama was about to finish filming so they could take advantage of the time when the game was at its peak. Then, the game and the drama could promote each other. This was a win-win situation. Now that the game's open beta was about to end and the official listing was about to begin, everyone started to get busier. At night, Lin Che saw that Gu Jingyu was a bit absent-minded. He looked at him and asked, "What's wrong? Is there something wrong? What are you thinking about today?" Gu Jingyu said, "Nothing, there's definitely something. Come. If there's something, talk to Search C. Get lost." Gu Jingyu really couldn't stand her acting like a sister-in-law. She was clearly younger than him. Lin Che said, "Is there something on your mind?" "That's enough. Little one, you want to lecture me?" "Hee, you're still a sister-in-law. Hee, if you say it again I'll call second brother over for everyone to see." The two of them were fooling around when the floor manager hurried over. Seeing the two of them laughing, she didn't dare to disturb them. But it was really urgent. After hesitating for a moment, she still walked over and said awkwardly, "Sister Che, there's something." Lin Che turned around. "What is it?" "Just now the crew of Haunting had a conflict with our scene. They're making a fuss outside asking us to change locations." Haunting was a supernatural drama. They were currently filming in a film city so they would bump into it a few times during filming. Coincidentally, Xing Hui was the one who was filming Hook the Soul, and the female lead was Wu Yufei. Last time their TV series was overshadowed by Lin Che's web series. It was because their TV series production was too crude so this time Xing Hui spent a huge sum of money on it. They wanted to salvage their reputation and change the public's impression of them. But this time they actually met here. As Lin Che was the producer, he had to ask about these small matters. She would take care of things that the floor supervisor could not handle. Because the other party was quite tough, the floor supervisor was also very helpless. She was afraid of causing trouble, so she came in to look for Lin Che. This was one of the troublesome things for Lin Che, who was both the producer and the main lead. She was always on the set as both a producer and an actress. When it was time to film, she had to be an actress. When she wasn't filming, she had to be the producer and be in charge. As soon as Lin Che went out, he saw a few people shouting there. "We got it first. Look, here's the schedule for today. Can't you guys go somewhere else first?" "Why? We've already set up the stage. Let's move now." "Who told you not to watch the time? The schedule they gave us is different from yours." "I don't care. Go look for them." There were many filming studios in Film City. It was the peak season now and there were more than 20 studios filming in one go. Film City officials had arranged the filming locations for each production crew, but with so many people, the arrangements were a little messy. As a result, the schedule they arranged for them clashed. This was supposed to be because of Film City, but they couldn't do anything about it. They could only persuade them to go somewhere else first. Who would have thought that these two companies wouldn't budge, neither giving in to the other? When Lin Che came out, they were still arguing. Lin Che walked over. "What's going on?" When the people from Starlight saw Lin Che, they restrained themselves a little. "Sis Che," they greeted her respectfully. "We clearly made the arrangements first. Your people are occupying the place and refusing to leave. We invested over 100 million into this TV series. Money flows like crazy every day. Who knows how much money we've spent by delaying this little bit of time." "Look," the production crew said, "Sis Che, we've already set up the stage props. Look, it took a lot of time and effort to set up the stage props. It would take even more time and effort to remove them." So, naturally they didn't want to give in. Lin Che said, "Since we've already set up the stage, can't we give it to you after you've asked us to hurry up and finish filming? The time we've spent here is more than enough for us to film, right?" "Aye, that can't be right, Sis Che. I respect that you're a superstar on the level of a heavenly queen. We can't afford to offend you, but you can't. You can't bully people like this." Although he didn't say it out loud, it was written all over his face. They didn't want to give in at all. They were competitors to begin with. Now that they were arranged to be in the same place, it was truly a small world for enemies. Why should they give in modestly? The production crew said, "How are we bullying you? We're victims too." "Isn't it bullying? That's right. You guys are amazing. You have the producers and whatnot. We're at the bottom of the industry and we don't dare to offend anyone. We have our pride, alright? We can't let others step over us so easily, right?" Heh. They sounded as if they were the ones who had suffered a huge grievance. They had also received the notice that they were going to shoot here today. Why should they move aside? Suddenly someone shouted, "Isn't it just a prop? We'll dismantle it for you." "That's right. If you find it troublesome, we'll help you dismantle it." "Hey, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?" Just like that, the two sides started arguing. The other side impulsively wanted to dismantle the prop. Naturally, Lin Che's side didn't want to give way. Just like that, the two sides seemed like they were going to fight. Behind them, the actors didn't know what happened. They just saw that there seemed to be a fight outside. Someone said, "They seem to be from Starlight." "Wow, then aren't they arch-enemies with Sis Che?" The girls looked at Suwon behind them. Yesterday when they went out together, she got something good. She didn't tell them what she got when she came back. It must have been something valuable, but she didn't dare to tell them. They were jealous, but Suwon was so cold and didn't tell them. They looked at each other and immediately understood each other's intentions. Chapter 12:20. Seeing that Suwon was watching, someone pretended to fall. He walked over and immediately pushed her over. Aya? Suwon was pushed out, and as luck would have it, she bumped into a prop. The prop fell to the ground with a crash. The floor supervisor screamed when he saw that. "Oh my God, my blue and white porcelain." The prop was borrowed from someone. This was the most expensive prop in the entire group. Suwon fell to the ground and her fingers were cut. But when she saw the prop, she was shocked. Suwon, you're finished? This is too expensive." Suwon's heart thumped. While they were messing around, Suwon even broke the prop. Several people surrounded her and looked at Suwon, discussing. "This blue and white porcelain, it wasn't easy to borrow it." "Yeah, I borrowed it from a nouveau riche collector. It's worth a few million, okay?" "This is a collector's item. He said it's worth a few million. Now that you've broken it, the compensation won't be just a few million." Suwon turned around but didn't see anyone behind her. The few people who were up to no good just now had already hidden away. Gritting her teeth, Suwon thought, it's all Gu Jingyu's fault. When she came back yesterday, they were acting weird. She didn't want to say anything and they started to hate her even more. As expected, they directly took revenge on her. A few million. Don't mention a few million, she couldn't even take out 10,000 right now. How much was the total pay for coming here this time? At this time, Gu Jingyu is here. Someone shouted. Gu Jingyu had already walked out. Seeing this scene, Gu Jingyu lowered his head and glanced at Suwon on the ground. "What happened?" "Jingyu, this little actor broke our blue and white porcelain." Gu Jingyu said, "Oh, can't you just break it and buy it again?" "No, this costs a few million. I borrowed it from a rich merchant. We strive for exquisite props and many props are very expensive." Gu Jingyu lowered his head and looked at Suwon deeply. Everyone thought he was going to reprimand her. Who knew, he suddenly said, "Okay, where did you borrow it from? I'll pay for it." "What? No way, so generous?" Everyone looked at each other in amazement. They didn't expect that they would suddenly have such a big reversal. Lin Che also hurried over. Seeing that Suwon was still sitting on the ground, Lin Che said, "It's okay. The thing was broken. I paid for it. How's the situation outside?" "I'm drunk too. I was just about to find someone to talk to." "Let me see." Gu Jingyu went out and said, "What are you doing?" Lin Che glanced at Suwon on the ground. "Hurry up and help her up. Her hand is injured." "What are you guys doing?" "Bandage her up and see what's going on. Do you want to get a tetanus shot?" When everyone saw this, they quickly moved. She didn't expect Lin Che and Gu Jingyu to be so generous. They actually didn't say anything about firing Suwon. The girls who tripped Suwon were really disappointed. In her heart, she wondered if Gu Jingyu knew Su-wan and felt that it was better to help her. Then Su-wan really got lucky. As soon as Gu Jingyu went out, the people outside stopped. Gu Jingyu said, "What are you doing?" "Oh, Jingyu, we're just helping your crew move the props." "Who told you to move them?" Gu Jingyu said, "Send them back." "Movie Emperor Gu, we don't have a choice. We also have to film. You're taking over our place." We're taking over your place? Alright, you guys can try moving our stuff now. I'll see who dares to move our stuff. We won't take it anymore. You guys can take all these things and you guys can compensate us as usual. But let me tell you, our props are different from your foam props. Some of them are from my family and some are borrowed from me. Every one of them is worth a few million. You guys can decide for yourselves. What? If someone else said this, they would definitely think that they were bragging. However, it was a different story when it came from Gu Jingyu's mouth. How could Gu Jingyu's family be fake? They looked at each other and then at the exquisite props in their hands. Suddenly they felt their bodies become heavy. They hurriedly said, Okay, we'll put them back. Put them back for movie Emperor Gu's sake. At this moment, Lin Che walked over from behind and looked at them. You take them away and put them back just like that? What do you take us for? The few of them were stunned again. Lin Che said straightforwardly, We don't want the things anymore. You just have to pay us. They had encountered a scammer. Moreover, it was a big one. And it was a direct one. Sister Che, you can't bully us like this. We just moved them a little. We didn't break anything. Lin Che said, Yes, we're bullying you. Otherwise you'd think that we're easy to bully. Since we're moving them away, let them be. We don't want the things that others have touched. You can leave. I'll calculate the money and transfer it to Starlight's finance department. Hey, don't, Sister Che. We were wrong, okay? Gu Jingyu looked at Lin Che and said to the few of them, Didn't you say that you were so generous just now? You said that you'd help us move them and didn't care if we agreed or not. It seems like the industry now is really different from what I knew. You can ignore seniority and step on me no matter who it is. Oh, how could we dare? How could we dare? Please spare us. We're small characters, we're just trying to make a living for our families. They didn't know that they would be so tough all of a sudden. They thought that with Lin Che here, a woman would be easy to bully. Who knew? Now, not only was Gu Jingyu not easy to bully, but Lin Che was also so overbearing, not letting them put them down. Lin Che and Gu Jingyu looked at the few of them. Lin Che said directly, Anyway, you can take them away. We're busy filming something else. I'll go in first. I don't know how much money we need in an hour. You guys are filming too. You should know that it's not worth it for us to waste our investment money on something like this. After saying that, Lin Che waved his hand and let them leave. Gu Jingyu glanced at them, harumphed, and followed them in. The people outside were really dumbfounded. They hurriedly begged for mercy. Everyone help us put in some good words for Sister Che. We're really... The stage supervisor thought that they were amazing. They were begging for mercy just like that. Lin Che and Gu Jingyu were the ones who were unyielding here. Su-wan watched from there, feeling really envious inside. It wasn't like other people's jealousy. She actually didn't like to be jealous of others because she always felt that people could improve and succeed through their own hard work. Therefore, she didn't like to be jealous of others. Looking at Lin Che, she just thought that it would be great if she could be like this one day and not be bullied by anyone. Chapter 12:21. It wasn't that they didn't really want those props. Lin Che just wanted them to know that it was easier to invite Buddha than to send him away. Since they took it, it wasn't so easy to put it back. As expected, the other party waited outside and begged for mercy for a long time. Finally, after half a day, they were told that they could leave after putting the things down. They hurriedly ran away dejectedly. When they returned to the set, they were immediately scolded by Xing Hui. They lost another person to Xing Hui for no reason at all. The smell of gunpowder between the two families had been very intense these days. Now it was all good. All of a sudden, it was suppressed by the other party. We didn't think that a little girl like Lin Che would be so strong-willed. That's right. He's not afraid that we'll really take those props away. They went back and ridiculed. Someone said, Isn't it because Gu Jingyu is there? You guys too choosing to find trouble when Gu Jingyu is there. Who dares to offend Gu Jingyu? In short, they were given the cold shoulder this time. They didn't dare to clash with Lin Che's crew for a long time after they went back. Su-wan looked at Gu Jingyu from the outside. She thought about it and felt melancholy. Gu Jingyu's assistant was watching. Seeing Su-wan come, he wanted to chase her away. Don't walk around here. Jingyu is inside. I don't see him. Everyone in the crew should know that Gu Jingyu didn't like to talk to people. When he didn't take the initiative, it was useless for anyone to come and talk to him. Suwon said, "Oh, okay." She was just about to turn around when Gu Jingyu came. "Let her in." The assistant pointed at Suwon. Let her? Yes. The assistant looked at Suwon even more deeply. What was special about this woman? Gu Jingyu looked at Suwon. "What's the matter?" Suwon said, "This dress." She handed the dress over and said, "I accidentally wore it last time." Gu Jingyu glanced at it and reached out to take it. But he directly threw it into the trash can at the side. Suwon froze and quickly squatted down to pick it up. "What are you doing? How could such an expensive thing be thrown away so casually?" However, before she could stand up, Gu Jingyu had already grabbed her wrist. His face was toward hers and he moved closer and closer. Outside, the assistant was scared. Seeing Gu Jingyu so close to Suwon and seeing that he was about to kiss her, she quickly pulled down the curtain in fright. She looked at the people outside and didn't allow anyone to get close. Inside, Suwon couldn't help but blush. She looked at Gu Jingyu's abyss-like eyes. So black, so big. It made people feel like they were going to be trapped inside. She took a deep breath and felt that she was short of oxygen. Gu Jingyu said, "How are you going to pay me back for today's money?" "What?" Suwon said, "Money? You broke the prop, don't you need to pay for it?" "It was a need." "Suwon?" She choked. She knew that it was a large sum of money and she definitely couldn't pay it back. Now Gu Jingyu was paying for her, but she couldn't let Gu Jingyu pay without paying it back. She looked at Gu Jingyu and said, "Well, why don't I work for you and pay you back slowly?" "Sorry, I don't have much patience for thousands of dollars a month," he said. "Then I don't want money, but you have to stay with me for 100 days. Suwon said, "You did it on purpose." Gu Jingyu was also very calm. "Just pretend that I did it on purpose. But now you owe me money, so I have no choice. Otherwise." He directly got closer to her. "Otherwise, I will announce to the public that you begged me to save you. When that time comes, guess if you will die miserably." Suwon's face was deathly pale. Gu Jingyu said, 100 days. Do as you see fit. If you agree, I will let you move over tonight. Otherwise, I will announce it to the public now." Gu Jingyu said and was about to walk out. Sigh. Suwon hurriedly pulled him. "Don't go." "So, do you agree?" Gu Jingyu turned around and asked. Suwon just looked at him. She wanted to say no. Could she? "But I have someone else I like in my heart. Don't you care?" Gu Jingyu heard this and snorted in his heart. "Like someone else?" very good," he said. 100 days later, you can find the person you like, but right now, you are only mine. Then can you promise that after 100 days, you won't care about me anymore?" Gu Jingyu nodded. "Do you think I will still care about you after 100 days? Suwon knew that she was thinking too much. She nodded. "I agree." Gu Jingyu also had someone he liked, but rich people were probably all like this. She was a little disgusted, but how could she dare to let others know about her relationship with Gu Jingyu? If they knew, she was afraid that she would not be able to survive in this circle for the rest of her life. She hadn't even graduated from drama academy yet. How could she be willing to give up and walk another path? Gu Jingyu's expression finally softened. He looked at her and said, "I'll pick you up at the dormitory tonight." "No need. Tell me the address and I'll go over." "I said I'll pick you up, so I'll pick you up. Just wait." Suwon knew that she was in no position to say anything, so she could only keep her mouth shut. KG's entire team was busy. The game ended and the open beta officially started. They only breathed a sigh of relief before immediately starting the next round of work. Everyone went to a gathering at night. They found a good restaurant outside and ate and drank to their heart's content. It was considered a day off and they would continue working tomorrow. Triumph Sheng assigned them some more staff and their own studio was also preparing to hire a few more staff to help deal with other trivial matters. The industry started so quickly and at such a high starting point, it made the university students feel lightheaded and incredulous for a moment. They drank until they were in a mess. Everyone prepared to go back. Some of them had families in B City, so they prepared to go home directly. The others went back to their dormitories. Chin Hui and Crooked Neck were both from B City, but Crooked Neck was too lazy to go home. Chin Hui took the subway back alone. Although he had a net worth now and after the game went online, he didn't have much savings. Plus, he didn't have time to care about other things and he didn't have a car yet. He took the subway back to his house. Before he went upstairs, he suddenly saw a dazzling blue Maserati sports car parked by the side. His eyes lit up and Chen Hui sighed in his heart. When would he be able to buy one? At this moment he saw a person silently walk out from behind. Is the car beautiful? Chen Hui drank a little and jumped in fright. He turned around and asked, "You? Who are you?" The person who came was a woman wearing work clothes. "If you like it, you can have the car." Chapter 12:22. What? Chen Hui was stunned for a moment. She grinned and said, "I know that you guys are making a game. I also know that you've earned some money from the game, but you have to know that the game belongs to KG and it has nothing to do with you. You've only helped out a little. You don't get as much dividends as KG and your status is not as high as KG's. Even some of your reputation has been taken away by Crooked Neck. He's the same as you, he hasn't done anything. It's only because he's good with words and has a good relationship with KG that he has more than you in everything." Chen Hui's heart tightened. "You don't have to come here and sow discord. I won't fall for your trick." "Well, I also know that it's all empty talk. However, we never do empty talk. I can tell you that we are under the banner of the Gu family. You can go and ask how big the Gu family is. What can compare to the Gu family? Our boss is a member of the Gu family. This is our biggest guarantee. I'll give all of this to you now. This is just the beginning. In the future, the more we get, the more you'll get. Not only this car but also this." She handed him a set of keys. "The house is in Ansha district. Is the one in front. You can see it. It's a high-end district." Chen Hui's eyes widened. That district, it was a newly built high-end district. It was much better than these districts. In a place like B City where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold, such a large district with such a beautiful landscape and such a good school district was destined to be worth a lot. Chen Hui looked at the place he was living in. He had been living in B City for a long time. This was a crooked old building. It had been saying that it would be demolished, but it had been delayed for a few years and no one had come to demolish it. Even now there was no market for it. It was depressing. He was rich now, but he was still living in such a rundown place. It was even more unfair. And the district in front of him? 80,000 yuan per square meter. With his current money, it would take him a few years to be able to afford it. A few years? How far would that be? This thing in his eyes was really too tempting. But KG and the rest, he looked at the person in front of him and his heart was filled with endless melancholy. The woman in front of him said, "We're not asking you to sell the game to us. You don't have the ability to do so. We just want you to cooperate with us when necessary. It won't be difficult and it'll definitely be easy. If you've thought it through, take this." The key, just like that, was placed in his palm. He lowered his head and looked at it. Suddenly, his heart seemed to fill up. Lin Che, on the other hand, was playing with his child at home while watching the game. The interface was open, but she didn't go to play it. Gu Jingze was reading a book beside her. The two of them didn't interfere with each other, but they were so harmonious. It wasn't until Lin Che saw Gu Jingyu come online for a while and then go down that he remembered what had happened today. There's something wrong with Gu Jingyu today. Gu Jingze looked up. What's wrong? It feels like he's in love. As expected, Gu Jingze was interested. Really? It's true, Gu Jingyu. He's been a little absent-minded lately and it's a little strange. I suspect that this is a sign of love. Gu Jingze said, the sago tree can even bloom. Hey, he's your younger brother after all. Gu Jingze got up and walked over. This little woman, was she speaking up for another man? He leaned over and pulled Lin Che to his side. Lin Che let out a yelp and fell into his arms. She looked at the child and said, "Don't play around, Shi Yuan is watching." Gu Jingze said, "She's still young, she won't understand." No? That's not okay either. However, before she could finish her sentence, her mouth was already covered by his. From a light kiss at the beginning, it deepened bit by bit. Lin Che was still resisting at first, but slowly she didn't feel like resisting anymore. Seriously? No matter how long it had been, it was still easy for her to sink into his kiss. Gu Jingze slowly pushed her onto the sofa. The child sat on the carpet and played. Indeed, she didn't even look at what her parents were doing. However, Lin Che was a little nervous. She kept looking in Shi Yuan's direction and pushed Gu Jingze. Gu Jingze, what are you doing? No, be serious. He lowered his head to look at her and kissed her lips again. She let out a whimper and felt his whole body pressing down on her with a masculine aura. In an instant, it filled all her thoughts. At this moment, Gu Jingze was always unimaginably domineering. Any rejection would be swallowed up by him. Her hand pushed out, but it was very slow and had no effect at all. It was soft as if it was cotton. Whoa, this was too much. However, when his hand fell down, suddenly someone knocked on the door and said, "Sir." "Madam." Lin Che suddenly felt too embarrassed to face anyone. Although the person who came in immediately left, Lin Che still felt her heart stop. Her whole body leaned against the sofa. She didn't want to? She was alive. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes and helped Lin Che tidy up her clothes. His face was full of lust. As if he wanted to kill someone, he walked out. Lin Che covered her cheeks and looked to the side. Shi Yuan was looking at her as if she had understood something. Oh my god, that damn Gu Jingze. He would tempt her every day. Now, it was too embarrassing. Outside, the helper felt like she was going to die. Because she knew that Miss Shi Yuan was inside, she acted rashly. Who knew? Their family's patient was like a ferocious beast in front of his wife. She looked at Gu Jingze coming out with a dark face and didn't dare to raise her head. What's the matter? Although Gu Jingze's voice was calm, it was obviously angry. A man with unsatisfied lust was indeed very scary. The helper hurriedly said, "Sir, there's news from headquarters." Gu Jingze paused and waved for someone to bring it. The news was brought over. It was a confidential letter. Lowering his head to take a look, his expression stiffened. Lin Che walked out and saw his expression. What's wrong? Did something happen? She looked over and saw that the letter was full of strange symbols that she couldn't understand at all. He said, "It's a confidential letter from the Gu family." A confidential letter? Yeah, something did happen. I have to go and deal with it. You should rest first. Lin Che panicked. Will there be any danger? No. I don't believe it. Gu Jingze smiled and kissed her forehead. Come back and finish what you didn't finish just now. Be good. How could he still be so indecent at a time like this? Chapter 12:23. In the secret room of the Gu family's headquarters. After Gu Jingze went in, all the solemn people stood up one after another. How long has he been missing? He threw his clothes onto the chair, his chiseled face cold. According to the servants, old Master Gu went out to play mahjong with someone and didn't come back. A group of mahjong players also said that he didn't go. Gu Qigong was missing. And now no one knew where Gu Qigong was. Gu Jingze looked at the people in the secret room. Everyone who knows about this today is in this room. You are all my trusted subordinates. Even if you are scattered in different areas of the Gu family, you are all my people. You should know what to do with the outside world. Yes, master. The Gu clan's clan leader had a group of trusted aides. These people were usually the clan leader's trusted aides. No, only after becoming the clan leader would one know their names and positions. If it weren't for this matter, they wouldn't even know who the Gu clan's clan leader was. And the few people who came today were only a part of them. They were passed down from their ancestors. Every one of them knew their position from the moment they were born. They lived like ordinary people, but when something happened, they were absolutely loyal to the master. Now they were called M. In the past, they were called Man Clan. Later, in modern times, they changed to a simpler name. Now, because of Gu Qigong's sudden disappearance, Gu Jingze called them here. Most of Father's bodyguards and secret guards have been given to Nian Nian. He doesn't have many of them. But if someone wanted to take Father away from the secret guards and bodyguards, it must be someone from the Gu family, Gu Jingze said. The few people said in surprise, Master, do you suspect that it was done by those relatives? That's right. To do something like this at this time, it was expected. But they actually did it in this way. It was true that Gu Qigong was his father, but he was also a special father. He had never played the role of a father in Gu Jingze's life for more than a few days, but he was truly a father in his flesh and blood. Master, what do you want us to do now? Gu Jingze looked outside. Save him. Lin Che was still waiting in the room, but Gu Jingze still hadn't returned. She opened the door and called for Dongzi. Go and ask if Gu Jingze has any urgent problems. Dongzi answered and went out. She stood there holding her chin and looking outside. She couldn't think of anything that would make him leave in such a hurry. At this time it should be late at night. Mu Wanqing suddenly called. Lin Che suddenly had a bad feeling. He picked up the phone and said, Mom, why are you so late? Mu Wanqing said over the phone, Something happened, little Che. What is it? Let's talk in person. This is more important. Alright, I'll go find you. Don't come to the Gu family. Go to number 36 Qinghe Road. That's a place that belongs to my mother's family. No one knows about it. Before Mu Wanqing married into the Gu family, her family was also wealthy. The Mu family was not a family like the Gu family, but they were also a family of scholars. Their family had been wealthy for many years and they were low-key and thrifty. When Lin Che arrived, he saw that Mu Wanqing was already waiting there. Lin Che hurriedly walked in. "Mom, what happened? Why is it so serious?" Mu Wanqing stood up and said, "I'm worried that someone is eavesdropping on the phone. After all, it's not safe." "What?" Lin Che immediately felt that it was a little serious. Mu Wanqing said, "Jingza's father disappeared yesterday?" When Mu Wanqing said this, her eyes were already red. Lin Che was even more surprised. "Father? Is missing?" Mu Wanqing choked for a moment and covered it up. She raised her head and continued, "But today Jingza went to look for someone. He has fallen into a trap." Lin Che's heart calmed down. "Is Gu Jingza in danger?" "That's right. I don't know where he went. I only know that after he fell into the trap he escaped. He brought more than 10 personal guards with him and they were all wiped out. However, they didn't find Jingza. Jingza escaped, but I don't know where he is now." "How could this be?" Lin Che's heart suddenly seemed to burst out of his throat. Mu Wanqing said, "Right now the only person I can trust is you, little Che. What should I do now? If something happens to Jingza, I don't want to live anymore. It's all my fault. I made Jingza risk his life to save Qigong, but in the end I didn't manage to save him." Mu Wanqing seemed to have broken down. She sat there with a dejected look on her face. She couldn't even speak clearly. Lin Che's mind was in a mess. However, looking at Mu Wanqing, she lowered her head and held Mu Wanqing's hand. "Mom, it's useless to think about this now. That's our father. If it wasn't for you, he would have gone to save him because he is Gu Jingza. Gu Jingza was such a good father, a good son, and a good husband." Lin Che thought for a moment. "Does the Gu family already know about Gu Jingza's disappearance?" "That's right. The clan is in a mess." "Then, does anyone know who did it?" "I don't know," Lin Che said. To be able to be familiar with the Gu family's movements and to be able to make Gu Jingza fall into a trap, I suspect that it was done by the Gu family's clan. Mu Wanqing raised her head. "Then what should we do now?" "Mom, we have to go back to the Gu family. Although Gu Jingza has disappeared, you are still the Gu family's madam. I'll go back with you." Mu Wanqing looked at Lin Che. Yes, she was still the Gu family's madam. She couldn't lose her backbone. Lin Che went out and said, "Dongzi, inform all the bodyguards to gather. We'll go back first and then go to the Gu family." At this time, even if she was forced to do something beyond her ability, she had to stand up. Back at the Gu family. Lin Che looked at the people who had been gathered at the door. "I know that you are all Gu Jingza's bodyguards. Now Gu Jingza is in danger and we don't know if he is dead or alive. However, he is not dead yet. He is still looking for his way back. You have to wait for him to come back with me and help him protect his territory before he comes back." Everyone looked at Lin Che. There was a hint of awe on their solemn faces. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't have believed it. However, they knew what Lin Che meant to their master. Lin Che was no ordinary person. He was Gu Jingza's most trusted and loved person. Therefore, in the past so many years, they had actually treated Lin Che as a newcomer and loved him very much. Lin Che had always been a good person. Slowly, many people were subtly attracted to him, attracted by his personality and charm. Moreover, it was at this moment. Everyone said in unison, "We will follow your orders." Lin Che's expression turned cold. He looked at the crowd and said, "All right, now listen to my orders." Chapter 12:24. The Gu Family. The clan members were still waiting in the central room. For a moment it was noisy. Gu Shindo was gone, Gu Jingza was gone, and even Mu Wanqing was not there. Everyone was talking about their own things. It was like a market. These local tycoons were used to such things, but at this moment they were like uncles and aunties, gossiping about what they knew. "I heard that he's dead." "How could he be dead?" "His body hasn't been found. It said that he went to a secret factory outside and was controlled by chemical weapons. Otherwise, how could those bodyguards die so quickly?" But Gu Jingza is smart. He immediately realized that something was wrong and escaped. Then he's fine? Maybe there's a problem. But now that he's missing, who knows what the problem is? Then who's in charge of the Gu family now? There's no one to take care of things here. At this moment, Xuemingqi had already lost her patience. Seeing that no one in front of her was going to speak, the room was in a mess. The servants on the side began to talk uncontrollably. Shui Mingqi said in a low voice, the patriarch is not here and the madam is not here either. What should we do? That's right. Didn't the president come? Even if he comes, he is not the patriarch. He can't manage so many things. Moreover, if he participates, it will have a greater impact on him. If people know, I'm afraid it will affect his position on the president's side. He must think more about it. Shui Mingqi hesitated for a moment. Then, as if there was no other way, she sighed and suddenly stood up. Everyone was sitting there talking. Suddenly, they saw someone stand up and walk towards the carved chair that the patriarch used to sit on. Everyone turned to look at the source of the sound. Shui Mingqi stood there, facing the people below. When everyone saw that it was her, they gradually stopped talking as if they were aware of it. Shui Mingqi cleared her throat, then said, the Gu clan has never been in such chaos for many years. Right now, perhaps the heavens are testing our Gu clan to see if we can unite as one and overcome this crisis together. Perhaps you have never experienced such a thing before, but our Shui clan has been in chaos for many years. I know that if we can unite as one at a time like this, our relationship will be even better in the future. Because of this experience, we will be closer to each other. So, I hope that everyone can face this together and not suspect each other. Everyone looked at each other with a look of agreement on their faces. Shui Mingqi said, now that the patriarch and madam are not here, we still can't panic. We should find a way to save ourselves, I think, she said slowly. She stood there looking at all the clan members looking at her. Thinking about how she stood in the position where the patriarch and matriarch used to stand, that feeling of being able to command others, really made one's heart swell. The feeling of everyone following her lead was simply too good. He was like an emperor standing above everyone else. This feeling was just too great. But at this moment, all of a sudden there was a commotion outside. All of a sudden, everyone saw a row of security guards standing outside the courtyard. Someone looked at the uniformed security guards and exclaimed, those are not Gu Jingza's security guards. What? Is he back? Really? Everyone immediately looked over, leaving Shui Mingqi, who had yet to finish her words, behind. Shui Mingqi was stunned. She glared at the security guards angrily. She saw that there were indeed a lot of people surrounding the Gu clan's old mansion. They were orderly, gradually filling up the positions of the guards. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, Lin Che walked out from the back. She glanced at the crowd and ignored their disappointed, unconvinced, or resentful gazes. She stepped into the hall and stood at the very front. The bodyguards behind her also stood behind her, following her from a distance. Lin Che glanced at the people below and said to them, don't worry, even if Gu Jingza is not here now, we will not fall. The things he left behind are still here and the rules he set are still there. You can continue with what you were doing before. I have already arranged for someone to take over from the headquarters, so you don't have to worry. Just carry on with your daily life. There is no need to gather here. Worry will only cause us to make more mistakes. Now you can go back on your own. If there is anything you want to know, you can ask me at the headquarters. Lin Che came in and gave the order without hesitation. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's discussion became even louder. Why is she here? That's right. What does she mean by this? Is she going to take charge now? Why should she be here? She shouldn't be the one to take over if something happened to Jingza. That's right. Her surname is not Gu. She is an outsider. How dare she control us? Shui Mingqi hadn't enjoyed much when she saw Lin Che coming in like a bolt of lightning. She was so angry that she choked. Lin Che could understand everyone's doubts. After they discussed for a while, she smiled slowly and said, you can tell me directly if there is anything you want to say. Hearing her words, someone asked directly, what right do you have to take over the headquarters? Lin Che said, Gu Jingza is my husband. He is missing. What's wrong with me taking over? Do you know what's in the headquarters? You can take over. Lin Che said, the headquarters has everything Gu Jingza left behind, including his trusted aides and subordinates. I believe that the Gu family has gathered all the capable people and has never kept any useless people. Even if Gu Jingza is not here, they will be able to support the Gu family. Ah, what a joke. So you are saying that you will not do anything and just watch? That's right. Ah, you are so naive. Oh? I am naive? Then tell me, if I cannot take over, will you take over? We will elect our own people to take over. Mistress has been elected in the past, so I won't say anything. Since when do we have to rely on you to elect a clan head? Lin Che's gaze suddenly sharpened. The person looked as if he had been struck by lightning. His face turned pale and his voice became weaker. It's not like the Gu family doesn't have any descendants. We need you to help us find a head of the family. It's not like my husband doesn't have any children. We need you to help us find a child. Not only my husband, but even without him, there's still my eldest brother and Gu Jingyu. They're still alive. Since when was it your turn to elect a head of the family? The Gu family's clan head had always been passed down from father to son, son to grandson. The previous generation's clan head made the decision. The next generation's clan head was not someone they could just elect. Chapter 12:25. The corner of Lin Che's lips curled up into a mocking smile. Even though Nian Nian is still young, he's still Gu Jingza's biological son. Even if Gu Jingza never returns, Nian Nian will naturally take over as the patriarch. What are you guys trying to do? Bullying Nian Nian because he's young and I'm a woman? Everyone was speechless. Lin Che didn't plan on giving them a chance to speak. Now, I will temporarily take over Gu Jingza's bodyguards. I will also temporarily take over the patriarch's bodyguards. Everything will be handled by the headquarters. There is no need to change anything. If there is anything, hand it over to Qin Hao and then pass it to me. If you have any objections, you can come to the headquarters to discuss it with me. Sigh, she's in charge now. What's going on? Why is it her? Everyone wanted to say something, but when they looked outside and saw that Gu Jingza's bodyguards were looking forward solemnly, it seemed like everything was under Lin Che's control. Qin Hao, who used to be Gu Jingza's right-hand man, was also beside him. The rest of the people seemed to trust Lin Che. Gu Jingza's men were now hugging Lin Che's side and obeying his orders. They couldn't resist even if they wanted to. The group could only slowly disperse. Aya, is the Gu family going to have the surname Lin now? That's enough. Gu Jingza's men are usually very shrewd. Why are they all on Lin Che's side now? I can't tell. She usually acts like she doesn't know anything, but she is really good at winning people over. Isn't that right? They all listen to her now. She has a son and a daughter down there. What else can we do? Xuemingqi was still standing there, feeling empty. But it had already been completely forgotten and completely ignored by others. How could she have imagined that Lin Che, who had just arrived, didn't even say any words of encouragement? Instead, he directly gave the order and settled the matter. He didn't even give her a chance to refute. Xuemingqi felt like she was going crazy as she stood there and watched everyone leave. This Lin Che, did he purposely come to oppose her? However, she didn't expect this woman, who was usually like a vase, to be so tough today. At this moment, Lin Che slowly turned his head and looked at Xuemingqi. Pretending that he had just seen her, Lin Che said, "Hey, why is Miss Xue still here?" "Hehe, why are you still here?" Xuemingqi looked at Lin Che with a mocking expression. She said, "It's nothing. I'll leave now. However, you've just taken over. If there's anything you don't understand, you can ask me." "Oh, is that so? That's not necessary. I think Assistant Qin will understand what I don't understand, and if Assistant Qin doesn't understand, other people will understand. Besides, although Miss Xue is very capable, she has never been to the headquarters, so there are probably a lot of problems that she doesn't know. Don't worry about me. There are a lot of people here, and I believe that they have been in the headquarters for so many years. They should be able to teach me a lot of things." Xuemingqi's face turned pale. Yes, she had never been to the headquarters. Looking around, she was surrounded by Gu Jingza's capable people. With them around, it was indeed not easy to make a mistake. Xuemingqi's heart was once again unbalanced. What's so great about it? Isn't it just because Gu Jingza built a good foundation for you? However, the helpless thing was that these people actually had to listen to the commands of an actress who knew nothing. Xuemingqi left with a cold expression. Lin Che glanced over, then turned back to Qin Hao. "Is the headquarters ready?" Qin Hao said, "Don't worry, madam, everything is ready." Lin Che took a deep breath. Have you arranged for people to search for Gu Jingza's whereabouts?" "Yes, they are searching at all times." "Very good, let me know if there's any news. Now, let's go to the headquarters." Gu Jingza slowly opened his eyes. What entered his eyes was a pink color. When he raised his head, he saw Enlan in front of him. In an instant he sat up and cautiously leaned back. He looked at Enlan, then looked at himself. There seemed to be nothing wrong. It seemed like Enlan hadn't touched him. "Missen, why am I here?" Enlan looked at Gu Jingza. "We found you injured at the bottom of the cliff, so we brought you back." "You're injured, lie down?" Enlan looked at Gu Jingza's beautiful eyes. When she saw the unconscious man just now, he was so exquisite, like a beautiful work of art. She wanted to reach out and touch him, but she didn't know if it was because he was too vigilant, or if it was a coincidence, but the moment she reached out, his eyes opened. It was a coincidence. When she found out that something had happened to Gu Jingze, she thought to herself, how could such a good man get into trouble? She sent people to search for him, but unexpectedly they found him in a bush. Because the dog she had brought with her had smelled the blood, it had found the injured Gu Jingze in no time. Therefore she hurriedly brought him back and brought him to her residence without everyone knowing. Gu Jingze looked down at himself. The wound on his abdomen had probably been cleaned. He had lost a lot of blood and felt a little uncomfortable. He looked at her and said, "Thank you for your help, Missin." He was about to get off the bed when Enlan hurriedly said, "No, you've lost a lot of blood and need to rest. Don't move. I can get it for you if you need anything." "No, it's just that there are a lot of things to do at home. I have to hurry back." Enlan's expression turned cold, looking a little aggrieved. "You're going back already?" Gu Jingze looked at her. "What else can I do?" Enlan narrowed her eyes and bit her lip. "I definitely won't let you go." Gu Jingze said, "I have a wife and a child at home. I'm worried about them." "I don't care. Since you're here you have to rest well. This is my place. I saved you so you owe me a life. You have to leave but you have to see if the people here will let you go." Gu Jingze looked up. There were people outside and the surveillance was tight. Gu Jingze said, "So, Missin, are you determined to keep me here?" "I'm not trying to do anything else. I just hope that you can rest well. Look at you. You can't even walk a few steps now, can you?" He moved. Indeed, his footsteps were very heavy. It seemed like it was the result of injecting some kind of medicine. He glanced at her. She had given him a special drug, which was why he had such an outcome. This was because he had used a lot of medicine and he had developed a resistance to most of them. Now that the medicine was so effective, it couldn't be any ordinary medicine. Chapter 12:26. It seemed like she would have to put in some effort to leave this place. It was Lin Che's first time at the so-called headquarters. The headquarters was not the Gu's building where Gu Jingze worked. It was more like a palace. After entering, he found that the settings inside were very special. There were a lot of security measures and they all looked very high-end. Qin Hao followed Lin Che from the side and carefully explained to her, "This place has a history of more than 100 years, so the architectural characteristics are somewhat Gothic in the past. Back then this was the place where foreigners lived. It was also at that time that we built our headquarters here. However, the interior has been completely renovated. From the outside this area looked like an ordinary coffee shop, but it was too big." Lin Che might have passed by this place in the past and seen people taking wedding photos here with the building as the background. She thought that this must be a special building that was used as a hotel in the past, but was now useless after being protected. She didn't expect it to be the headquarters of the Gus. "Madam, look, the glass here is bulletproof. It can withstand a large degree of attack. Some artillery fire can't even penetrate it. The upper floor is the normal operation area of the headquarters. Below, there is a secret room for the master of the family. Now that President Gu is not here, you can use it." Lin Che looked at Qin Hao and said, "Assistant Qin, thank you for trusting me and telling me all this." Qin Hao said, "Madam, President Gu has absolute trust in you, so we have absolute trust in you too. President Gu has instructed us to hand over everything to you if anything happens at home." Lin Che looked at him and said, "You mean Gu Jingze has instructed us in the past?" Qin Hao nodded. "To others I don't know. But to me he told me directly that he could give you all these. President Gu has no secrets from you, so I won't keep any secrets from you either." Lin Che's heart skipped a beat. Qin Hao said, "Also look at the people who follow President Gu. They all trust you. You can rest assured that you have the ability to gain their trust and you will be able to bear their trust. You won't let President Gu down." Lin Che was a little nervous, but it wasn't the time for her to be nervous. She nodded and said to Qin Hao, "I will try my best." She said, "You still can't find Gu Jingze?" Qin Hao said, "With President Gu's intelligence, even if he wanted to hide it, he would hide it very well. We might not be able to find him easily. However, there is no bad news at the moment, which means that President Gu is really hiding. I think you can rest assured." Was it really possible? How could Lin Che really be at ease? However, after hearing his words, her heart did feel a little comforted. She took a deep breath and felt that she still had a lot of things to do. At this time she really couldn't just be sad. The other side. Gu Jingyu couldn't pick up Su Wan because something happened at home. But he still let the driver go to Su Wan's place. Su Wan was still in the dormitory when she received a call. The driver said respectfully, "Miss Su, Mr. Gu asked me to pick you up." Su Wan said, "Pick me up? Now where are you?" He's already downstairs. Soo-won saw that she hadn't tidied up yet, so she could only hurry and tidy up. Her roommates came back and saw her packing her luggage. No way you're moving out? Yes, I might not be able to stay here in the near future. That car downstairs isn't here to pick you up, is it? Which is it? Ah, then it seems like it's really here to pick you up. The people in the dormitory looked at her and their faces immediately turned contemptuous, but they still pretended to be envious. Really, did you get a boyfriend? Aya, we really envy you too much. You got a boyfriend so quickly and you're going to be together soon. Yeah, the car is so good. Your boyfriend must be very rich. How could Soo-won not hear the sarcasm? She didn't care about them and casually packed up and said, I'm leaving first. She carried her things and hurried out. The people in the dormitory snorted. He must be a kept woman. I saw it. The driver is an old man. I'm so envious, jealous, and hateful. In the future, he might be a rising star in the film and television industry. Who told you not to find a man? I'm not that shameless, okay? Besides, I can't sleep with that kind of old man. There were many beauties in the school who moved out after being kept. They were already used to it. Who told there to be many beauties here? There were also many rich people who stared at this place and specially looked for women to keep. After Soo-won got off, she directly followed the car and left. When she arrived, she saw that it was a villa with a single courtyard. It was much bigger than the villa she imagined. From afar it looked like a garden. There were already more than a dozen garages in front. She didn't know if there were cars parked inside. After the housekeeper came down, he said, Miss Soo, is it? Third young master is not here today. There are some matters at home that he has to deal with. You can stay here first. The room has been prepared and everything has been prepared. Third young master might come back tonight. Oh, thank you. Soo-won heard that Gu Jingyu was not here and she was really relieved. Now that she saw him, she didn't know what attitude she should use to meet him. After all, the current Gu Jingyu was actually the man who kept her sugar daddy. After entering, she saw that the room was really big. Someone had already prepared all sorts of clothes for her. She opened the wardrobe. From pajamas, underwear to outerwear, there was a pile of gorgeous clothes, surprising her. Everyone said that the Gu family was different in Country C. The reason why no one dared to provoke Gu Jingyu was not only because he was a superstar, a national treasure, but also because his background was too strong. She sat on the well-made bed and caressed it, feeling apprehensive. But at this time she heard a voice outside. Gu Jingyu, are you here? Are you here or not? Soo-won froze. It's actually Lin Che. She hurriedly walked out. As expected, she saw Lin Che walking in. He saw Soo-won with a glance. Lin Che froze there. You? Soo-won felt guilty and ashamed in her heart. She felt like she was caught in the act, making her feel too ashamed to show her face. Sorry, Sister Che. Gu Jingyu and I didn't want to. If you want to hit me, scold me. I can do it. Hit me? Me? Lin Che pointed at himself. Why would I hit you? Aren't you and Gu Jingyu a couple? Soo-won said, You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.